regular Louisville Metro Council meeting of July 31st, 2025 will please take order at this time. The time is currently about 6:20 p.m. We are 20 minutes late behind schedule. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is being held pursuant to KRS 61.826 and Council Rule 5A. Madam Clerk, a roll call, please.
Councilmember Hawkins. Councilmember Shanklin.
Present.
Councilmember Parrish Wright.
Present.
Councilmember Herndon.
Here.
Councilmember Purvis.
Present.
Councilmember Leninger.
Present.
Councilmember McCraney.
Here.
Councilmember Reno Weber.
Present.
Councilmember Raymond. Here. Councilmember Kramer.
Here.
Councilmember Joseph. Here. Councilmember Syme. Here. Councilmember Best.
Here.
Councilmember Chappell. Here. Councilmember Reed. Here. Councilmember Winkler. Here. Councilmember Parker. Councilmember P. Argentini. Here. Councilmember Benson. Councilmember Roy. Here. Councilmember Brecher. Councilmember Hudson.
Here.
Councilmember Weaver-Rurich.
Here.
Councilmember Betshon.
Present.
President Eckerson.
Present.
President Eckerson, you have 22 in a quorum.
All right, let the record reflect that Councilman Benson has an excused absence. Councilman Herndon, you have a page today.
I do. Thank you, Mr. President. Please, I'd like to introduce a bright young member of our community, Aiden Hinton. There he is. Aiden is 13 years old and currently in the 8th grade at Farnsley Middle School, where he's already showing ambition by majoring in business. He's got a curious mind and a wide range of interests, including gaming, reading, and sports. Aiden comes from a close-knit family. His proud grandmother and my neighborhood liaison is Miss Jackie Floyd, and his parents are William and Eugenia. He's excited to be here today, and please, let's give him a warm welcome from Metro Council.
Councilman Joseph, I believe you've got a guest.
All right, sorry, it was already on. I thought the light needed to come on. I apologize. Council, thank you for taking a few minutes. As you know, my day job is teaching at Butler Traditional High School, which is in Councilwoman Parrish Wright's district, and I also have the privilege of getting to teach dual credit government and have some of the brightest students, I think, in the city, and maybe none brighter than the one that I'm going to introduce real quick. President Eckerson, this young man is in your district, and have a lot of good things to say about him. Jorge, if you will stand up here. Jorge applied for the Gates Scholarship, which is a national scholarship that is basically students that achieve this can go anywhere in the country, all paid. They can study what they want to, all paid. And Jorge was 300 out of about 100,000 applications. To give you an idea, we looked it up, and you have about the same chance of being struck by lightning, being killed by a bee. It is very rare that this accomplishment takes place. And so we are so proud of Jorge and all that he has been involved in at Butler High School, but also all that he has done in the community. And he could go anywhere in the country for free, and he is choosing to go to the University of Louisville and study engineering. And so we're really proud of Jorge. So Jorge, he's never at a loss for words, so I'm going to let Jorge talk for a few seconds, or however long, Jorge, and if there's anything you want to share to council, you're welcome to it.
All right, so first of all, thank you all for allowing my teacher, Councilman Mr. Joseph, for being able to recognize me here tonight. And I also like to thank him because he's been one of the teachers who has had a great impact in my life. And honestly, without his support, I probably wouldn't have the confidence I do in myself right now, and public speaking or in other skills. And to that, I truly do appreciate him. And I guess just being in a room surrounded by individuals who care on having an impact and wanting more for the community in Louisville and for the youth, it inspires me to also have a career that's involved in inspiring the youth and doing more for your community and helping out in your community. So this recognition is really important to me. It's really special to me, and being given it and having one of my best teachers giving it to me is honestly a nice moment. So thank you all.
And real quick, being the teacher that I am, Jorge, I got to ask you in front of some of Louisville's finest leaders, what is your secret sauce? How are you able to do it? How are you able to become a Gates Scholar? What's your secret sauce for who you are?
Honestly, there's a few things. First of all, having the right mindset of not giving up, pushing through every setback, every obstacle. And throughout the journey, I have had a few people tell me that, oh, why are you aiming so high, or are you sure you're able to achieve this? And, well, here I am. I've been able to prove them wrong and prove myself right that doesn't matter what people think about you, or even if at moments you might think that you're not like worth enough, or if you might just don't see yourself achieving these great things, that you can still achieve these great things with the hard work and effort and the right mindset. So yeah, I think that's my secret sauce.
Well, Jorge, education is power. And you've empowered yourself this far, and you've got a lot more empowerment to come. So we say Godspeed in your travels, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, congratulations. And then here's your proclamation. God bless you. All right, buddy. Congratulations.
You want a photo up here, JJ?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Can you get a photo? No, this is yours. Madam Clerk, are there any addresses to the council?
Yes, sir, there is. There's 5.
Let me remind those addressing the council to please refrain from using any profanity or making any derogatory remarks towards council people. Additionally, there are no more than 3 persons that may speak on a particular purpose or cause. And finally, these council speeches cannot be used to politicize or to try to propagandize your business. Other than that, come forward and we welcome you.
John Cavalcanti.
It was not the will of the people to have a Republican chair of the Budget Committee. It was not the will of the people to have the elected majority of the council wiped out by some deal or experiment. From the ethics violations to the unusual move involved in pushing the Sigma Squared contract through, the Metro Council has continued to erode public trust. We have the chief telling us we aren't raising our children right, but somehow the Hearts programming grants that funded arts education for youth in our community centers got dropped from the budget. The chief also announced he was frustrated with the chaos of active shooter rumors. That huge event was attended by children who have had active shooter drills their entire lives. They have seen too many deaths for there not to be chaos. Vision is the ability to see a goal and the path to accomplish that goal, then being able to lead the process to conclusion. Look at the vision to change the industrial waterfront into a community asset. Will this be the council to allow profiteering gentrification to tarnish that vision? Vision is we want all landlords to abate lead paint. Profiteering is changing that ordinance to say only if the children get poisoned. Vision is a city of compassion, a city for people of the world to make a new beginning. Profiteering is selling out to ICE because we might lose Trump money. If we don't have vision and cannot see the path, things get muddled, especially when the community is not involved and there's no transparency. Joe Creason pickleball, open carry corridor, 2 a.m. or 4 a.m., a grocery store downtown, a public transportation system. Then there is our new world-class vision, Lou City, Cop City. I don't see the path. Don't spend a nickel till you know how much it will add to the budget once operational. Just look at the world-class transparency surrounding the actual cost of the LMPT headquarters renovations. We don't know if our current model of policing can change. Worthington Hills, a LMPD trained active officer moonlighting needed the blessing of LMBT leadership to do profiling stops with bonuses tied to convictions for finding other crimes. That model is one of the reasons we are where we are. It wasn't until it became public knowledge that LMPD changed their position. 5 years ago, we had a chief whose only training was the chaos and culture of LMPD. Now, after 4 interims, 3 permanent chiefs, we have a chief whose only training was the chaos and culture of LMPD. We are waiting for the sexual misconduct lawsuits among the leadership to clear the courts. Where is the change? We need a police force with leadership to effectively change, one that is a positive partner in this community as we try to protect and raise our children. Choose your words carefully. Make your decisions wisely. Ask yourself, is it visionary or is it profiteering? Work to turn around the erosion of public trust. Thank you.
Deborah O'Gorman.
Good evening. You all know me pretty well. I live in District 4, one of the largest areas in Metro Louisville. It's Metro. We have the second largest convention center in the United States. This is last month's conventions. I pass this out every month to all the restaurants in Metro Louisville. Last month we had 19,000 girls here. They paid $57 million for our convention center, but they stayed downtown Louisville. What does Louisville offer? Forster Live is dead. We have nothing there no more. Mr. David Korsh, I was there with Armstrong, David Armstrong, our very good mayor. He sold the Galleria to David Korsh for $1. And Forster Live is gone down. There's nothing there. I live there across the street from the Omni Hotel. We have hotels going up. Way to go. Now, within the next 2 years, next year and a half, we got 1,500 new apartments going up. Brown Brothers Cadillac, LDG's put 300 apartments there for Section 8. They bought the Greyhound bus station, 2,000 more hotel apartments going up. I worked the elections. I got us out of Oscar Manor because a man came in there with a gun and their pants showing up. That's going to be, U of L bought the Oscar Manor and they bought First Link. Tark Bus is losing money. Guess what? We have no place to shop. How many of you all want to go home and ride a Bobby to the grocery store? Tark Bus has got no money. We need grocery store. I've talked to Costco's. Kroger's has got a new boss. And I've already talked to them in Cincinnati. So guess what? I'm a disabled woman, and you all know how big mouth I am. And they said, we need somebody like you all. I've taken it to my officials. Nicole, Deputy Mayor Nicole, she helped me get this city ordinance passed about 2nd Street. It is a highway. That's why we don't have homeless on 2nd Street no more. I don't know whose department each of you are in. Somebody in your departments can work with me because we've got about 2,000 new apartments going up within the next 2 years. We need shopping. Costco even told me they'll come downtown Louisville. We got space. I got appointed on some divisions. How many of you would like to stop by Costco or Sam's on the way home? The closest Kroger's is on 29th Street. Kroger said they got a new boss. I got it right here. I get business first. I run a nonprofit for epilepsy. And Army Corps got the LG&E. They're putting 700 new workers in there the first of the year. So let's work together. You all want grocery? You want this? You got people coming to Metro. We got West End. Let's go Metro. You got over 2,000 new people living there, and you got Nulu, you got Kentucky Towers. Where can we shop? Nowhere. And we don't have Tark. How are we supposed to get there? We can't afford cab service, and we can't pull the thing. We're going to look like homeless bringing our groceries home. And what about the people visiting Louisville? Okay, let's talk. You got my number, and you know what I do. God bless you.
Jared Rando.
How y'all doing? We're getting killed with this Republicans controlling the state house and Senate, and I think a lot of it's our messaging. I think a lot of it, we got lawyers running our Democratic Party right now, so I'm going to try to help you with that right now. Donald Trump is not a white working class person. We're losing that demographic. Donald Trump's dad was a multi-millionaire. He got his start in life by his dad. His rich daddy gave him millions of dollars. That's how he started his life. Donald Trump, all these Republicans keep saying he's a patriot. He's not. He's a draft dodger. His rich dad gave him a doctor's note to get him out of the draft. Had a friend, doctor friend living in one of his buildings, gave him a doctor's note to get him out of the draft. My father, my grandfather, and his father, all from Louisville, Kentucky, and all were in the United States Army. None of them dodged the draft like Donald Trump. So how is he patriotic? Here's a picture of the Vietnam War. This is John Randall Jr. You see this? Do you all have, hey, Republicans, do you all have a picture of this from Vietnam? No, because the guy you all support, you got pictures of him with Epstein, though, right? Also, there's a Gaza genocide going on, just in case y'all didn't notice, and it's got links to Kentucky, because every one of our U.S. House reps is funded by AIPAC and weapons makers, except Thomas Massey. Thomas Massey, I know Trump's after you. If you need me to help you out, I'll help you out, even if you're a Republican, because you're actually on the right side of history. If you wonder why so many Irish Catholics are against the Gaza war and genocide, there's a good song about this. It's from Sinead O'Connor. It's called Famine. They were starved to death in Ireland, just like Gaza is being starved to death right now. We need to work on our messaging. We need to work on, we need more people talking stuff like Bernie Sanders is talking. We need to start talking about free universal health care, dental care, paid FMLA. That should be our message. TARC, funding TARC. I bought my Dodge. I had a Dodge, and it's double price now. So it's going to come in a time in history that it's going to be hard for a lot of these young people to get cars, and we need to fund TARC in the city of Louisville and across the country and all across the state. There's people without teeth all over Kentucky because they can't afford to even go to the dentist. And I mean, y'all can think that's funny, but I see them all the time. I work with some disadvantaged people. And that's all I got to say. Thank you. Arrest the president. You got the evidence. Everybody knows what's going on with that. Thank you.
Sam Avery.
Hello, Sam Avery is my name. I'm with the Renewable Energy Alliance of Louisville. Thank you for this opportunity. Carbon dioxide from fossil fuel is not like local air pollution. It doesn't blow out to sea, it doesn't settle out of the air. It's everywhere in the planetary system, and it will remain there for centuries. And it changes how the atmosphere works. As you know, it makes some places hotter and more humid, and other places drier. It makes storms and floods and fires a lot worse than they used to be. Scientists predicted this, but they didn't know it would happen this soon. Now, this body, Louisville Metro Council, passed a resolution in 2020 for 100% renewable energy. Thank you. This body also, for the first time, directly appropriated money for rooftop solar on city buildings. Thank you again. But we still have a long way to go. At some point, we have to create an installation either through Louisville Gas and Electric or instead of Louisville Gas and Electric in order to produce the amount of energy we need. Or we can let people from the outside decide our future for us. Data centers, as you know, are planning to come into Louisville, and they want the ratepayers of LG&E to spend $3.7 billion on obsolete, climate-busting fossil fuel infrastructure that will commit the next generation of Louisvillians, despite or without their consent, to what may be an unknown future, an uncertain future. We still have time to do what we said we were going to do in 2020. And if we're not going to do that, if we're going to stumble into the future and keep burning fossil fuel, we need to tell people now what we are going to do. If we're going to keep burning fossil fuel, and I hope we don't, we have to tell young people, or we should tell young people, that we don't care about violent weather. We're too busy to make the transition to a new global reality. We're too weak to stand up to LG&E and do for this city what's best for the people who live here. So again, if we're going to burn fossil fuel, and I hope we don't, if we are, I challenge this body to rescind its resolution for 100% renewable energy and pass instead a new resolution calling for the unrestricted consumption of fossil fuel, preparing the next generation for a hot and stormy future. Thank you.
Jeff Yocum.
Good afternoon, members of Metro Council and staff. I wanted to start by saying thank you for your time and service to our city. I look forward to those of you who do not know me. I look forward to speaking to those of you who do not know me, as some of you already do. I am a lifelong Lavillian and retired veteran of our military. I joined after a dear friend of mine was murdered in front of me downtown in 2004, and I had to escape the city life. I served my country proudly, as my family has done dating back to the Revolution. My family tree is smaller because some of us did not come home. After my service, I wanted to continue to serve, so I gave 10 more years of my life to the VFW and to this city. I even have been given the awards of community service and I currently serve Colonel Tim Kirk, the founder of the Warrior Healing Center, and the speechwriter for Admiral Mullins, the Joint Chiefs of Staff former chairman. My speech is rewritten as of last night. That's why I'm looking down, and edited out of respect for the council and electioneering rules. In 2023, I was wrongfully incarcerated, and I have been completely ignored by the mayor's office through phone calls, emails, and online forums for the past 2 years. Even after it has been factually proven that I have committed no crimes. The best I received was an admission of the mistakes that were made and an unconvincing sorry from the court. But this speech isn't just about myself. It's about all of you and the 600,000 plus people you represent. Louisville could be a beacon of hope for this entire nation if we address the number one problem that leads to almost all the other problems, and that is the hard drugs in this city. Hard drugs lead to addiction, homelessness, crime, overdoses, shootings, grieving families, and children are out here suffering because the parents are addicted. Hard drugs have zero benefit, yet they are widely available in all districts. They cause pain, suffering, and endless taxpayer expenses. For example, the clear boarding discussions, as I do watch these meetings. Hard drugs have paralyzed and crippled our city, and the good people don't even want to leave their homes anymore. I envision a drug-free Louisville, and the people have told me, and I quote, "Put up and shut up. Put up or shut up. It can't be done. It's an uphill battle. Get involved. You have no idea the power of those you speak of." I have one message for you guys. You can hope, but you need action. You can have hope through action. I signed a blank check with my, I signed the blank check with my life before, and I will do so again. And I do not fear war. I fear for our children's future. In closing, my name will be known November 5th. Thank you again for the time, and God bless each and every one of you. God bless America, and God bless Louisville. I'm sorry for going over. Thank you.
President Eckerson, that concludes your addresses to council.
Next, we have the approval of council minutes for the regular meetings of June 26, 2025. Are there any corrections or deletions? Motion, second, properly before us. All those in favor say aye. Any in opposition? The ayes have it. The minutes are approved as written. Next, we have the approval of the following council minutes for all of all in 2025. The regular committee of the whole, June 26th. The regular planning and zoning committee, June 22nd. The regular labor and economic development committee, June 22nd. The regular public works committee, June 22nd. Or July 22nd, I apologize. The regular government oversight and appointments committee, July 22nd. The regular equity committee, community affairs, housing, health, and education, July 23rd. Regular appropriations, July 23rd. Regular public safety, July 23rd. Regular ad hoc committee on efficiency boards and commissions, July 23rd. Regular parks and sustainability, July 24th. Regular committee on committees, July 29th. Are there any corrections or deletions?
Motion to accept the minutes?
Items before us, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition?
Aye.
The ayes have it. The minutes are approved as written. Madam Clerk, do we have any communications to the council?
Yes, sir, we do.
Please read those into the record.
Dear President Nixon, I'm appointing the Brightside Board of Directors, Haley Duncan, new appointment term expires December 31st, 2028. This is to be read into record only. Metro Council approval is not required. Sincerely, Craig Greenberg, Mayor. Dear President Nixon, I'm appointing the following Medical Center Commission of Jefferson County. Jennifer Sculptor, new appointment term expires January 12, 2026. Todd Lambert, new appointment term expires January 12, 2026. This is to be read into record only. Metro approval of this appointment is not required. Sincerely, Craig Greenberg, Mayor. Dear President Eckerson, in accordance with the Criminal Justice Commission, I'm reappointing the following. Jay Davidson, reappointment term expires 6/30/2027. Your proper attention is to this appointment. Reappointment is most appreciated. Sincerely, Craig Greenberg, Mayor. Dear President Eckerson, in accordance with the Domestic Violence Prevention Coordination Council, I'm appointing the following. Beth Melanie Denham, new appointment term expires April 26, 2028. Kelly Luckett, new appointment term expires April 26, 2028. Your proper action to these appointments is most appreciated. Sincerely, Craig Greenberg, Mayor. Dear President Eckerson, in accordance with the Fire Protection District Ordinance, I am appointing the following to the Jeffersontown Fire Protection District. Tara Harris, new appointment term expires June 30, 2027. Your prompt attention to this appointment is most appreciated. Sincerely, Craig Greenberg, Mayor. Read in full.
Those appointments need council approval be forwarded to the Government Oversight Audit Appointments Committee. The next order of business will be the consent calendar. The consent calendar comprises of items 21 through 45. Are there any additions or deletions? I believe item number 35 is coming off. Okay. Are there any other additions or deletions? Madam Clerk, a second reading of those items, please.
The following legislation was forwarded from Appropriations Committee. Item 21, an ordinance appropriating $7,500 from District 13 Neighborhood Development Funds through the Office of Management and Budget to Fairdale Fair Community United Incorporated for sponsorship of the 2025 Fairdale Fair to be held October 2nd through 4th, 2025. Item 22, an ordinance appropriating $11,491 from District 21 Neighborhood Development Funds to Public Works for clearing and beautification projects on Lucas Avenue and Durrett Lane in District 21. The following legislation was forwarded from Committee on Committees. Item 23, a resolution pursuant to the capital and operating budget ordinances approving the appropriation to fund the following professional service contract for Louisville Metro Office of Internal Audit for Workplace Investigation Services, Louth Investigation International, Inc., $20,000. The following legislation was forwarded from Government Oversight, Audit, and Appointments Committee. Item 24, reappointment of William Brandt Forward to the Board of Zoning Adjustment. Term expires June 30th, 2028. Item 25, a reappointment of Yanni Vazos to the Board of Zoning Adjustment. Term expires June 30th, 2028. Item 26, reappointment of Forrest Clay to the Criminal Justice Commission. Term expires June 30th, 2027. Item 27, reappointment of Joanne James to the Criminal Justice Commission. Term expires June 30th, 2027. Item 28, appointment of Stephen Lauyens to the Criminal Justice Commission. Term expires December 31st, 2026. Item 29, reappointment of Shannon Derrick to the Domestic Violence Prevention Coordinating Council. Term expires April 26, 2028. Item 30, reappointment of Karina Barillas to the Domestic Violence Prevention Coordinating Council. Term expires April 26, 2028. Item 31, appointment of Autumn Lockhart to the Domestic Violence Prevention Coordinating Council. Term expires April 26, 2028. Item 32, appointment of Brittany Hill Whitehead to the Domestic Violence Prevention Coordinating Council. Term expires April 26, 2028. Item 33, appointment of Aaliyah Fox to the Domestic Violence Prevention Coordinating Council. Term expires April 26, 2028. Item 34, appointment of Brittany Doyle to the Domestic Violence Prevention Coordinating Council. Term expires April 26, 2028. The following legislation was forwarded from Labor and Economic Development Committee. Item 36, a resolution approving the granting of local incentives to Cerity Partners LLC and any subsequent assignees or approved affiliates thereof pursuant to KRS Chapter 154, Subchapter 32. Item 37, a resolution authorizing the mayor and the Department of Economic Development to request an economic development grant from the Kentucky Economic Development Finance Authority for the benefit of B Simple Inc. in the amount of $500,000 and to accept said grant if awarded. Item 38, a resolution authorizing the mayor and the Department of Economic Development to request an economic development grant from the Kentucky Economic Development Finance Authority for the benefit of Anthro Energy Inc. in the amount of $750,000 and to accept said grant if awarded. Item 39, a resolution pursuant to the capital and operating budget ordinances approving the appropriation to fund the following professional services contract for Louisville Metro Public Health and Wellness to obtain specialized physician services. Mark S. Jorish, MD, $183,960. Item 40, a resolution pursuant to the capital and operating budget ordinances approving the appropriation to fund the following non-competitively negotiated professional service contract for Louisville Metro Police Department concerning forensic medical services for abused and neglected children. Community Medical Associates, Inc., doing business as Norton Children's Medical Group, $200,000. Item 41, a resolution ratifying and approving a collective bargaining agreement from the date of its approval through June 30th, 2029, relating to wages, hours, and other terms and conditions of employment between Louisville Jefferson County Metro Government and American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, AFL-CIO Local 2629, AFSCME, concerning employees of Metro Parks Department maintenance and recreation units for whom AFSCME is recognized as the exclusive bargaining representative. Item 42, a resolution ratifying and approving a collective bargaining agreement from the date of its approval through June 30th, 2029 between Louisville Jefferson County Metro Government and the American Federation of State, County, and Federal and Municipal Employees, AFL-CIO Local 2629, AFSCME, relating to wages, hours, and other terms and conditions of employment of certain civilian employees in Louisville Metro Corrections Department. Item 43, a resolution ratifying and approving a collective bargaining agreement from the date of its approval through June 30th, 2029, relating to wages, hours, and other terms of and conditions of employment between Louisville Jefferson County Metro Government and Teamsters Local 783, affiliated with the International Brotherhood of Teamsters of America, representing Louisville Emergency Services Metro Safe Department. The following legislation was forwarded from Planning and Zoning Committee. Item 44, an ordinance amending the Louisville Metro Code of Ordinances, Chapter 156, requiring the clear boarding of vacant at-risk properties. The following legislation was forwarded from Public Safety Committee. Item 45, an ordinance amending the Louisville Metro Code of Ordinances, LMCO, Chapter 51, regarding the licensing of trash haulers and enforcement of licensing requirements. Read in full.
The consent calendar has been properly moved and seconded. I think this requires a roll call vote. Open the vote, please.
Yes, if you said Parrish, right?
Voting's open.
Still showing waiting. There we go. We're in business.
It's read. Councilwoman Parrish Wright?
Yes.
And Ben is giving us the big thumbs
Councilman
up.
I'm sorry?
He's giving us the big thumbs up. I think that's a yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Voting's closing. President Exton, you have 25 yes votes.
All right, the consent calendar passes. The next item of business is old business. Madam Clerk, a reading of item 46, please.
Item 46, a resolution amending Rule 1.01 of the Rules of the Legislative Council of the Louisville Jefferson County Metro Government regarding amendments of the Metro Council rules. Read in full.
Items proper before us. At this point, let the record reflect, I'm going to relieve the chair to the President Pro Tem because I'm going to come down and speak to this because this is my rule change.
46.
And I call on myself as I leave. It worked that way today, brother. All right, folks, this is a rule change. Essentially, when we change the rules, this is going to take 14 votes. If we pass this, moving forward, it will take 18 votes to change any rules before this council. And the idea being is we're moving to a nonpartisan council. This is a situation where we've been running on the same rules for so long. They're good rules. However, any future rule changes, in my opinion, you might disagree with me, should require a supermajority, 18 votes. Because if you can get 18 votes, means that you're getting people from both sides of the aisle agreeing that this particular rule would be good for the council moving forward. And as such, I'm going to ask for a yes vote tonight to change the rules vote from 14 to 18 moving forward after tonight. Any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
I do have a question.
You have the full press, right?
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. President, for bringing this forth. I know that there's a lot of council rules that we need to address, especially as we deal with becoming nonpartisan. I'm not sold on this because we already have, to get something passed, we already have people, we have groups that are already voting in the block, and we have people who vote across the board. I just want to really understand the significance of moving it from 14 to 18, because we already have bipartisan efforts already happening, people voting in a block, and I'm just, and blame it on me being new. I'm not afraid to say if I don't know something, if I'm not sure of that. But before I support this, I want to be clear about what's the real significance? Why does that need to happen? Because people are already voting the way they choose to, bipartisan or not, and groups are already voting in a block. And then we have other people who vote with those groups that vote in the block. So I'm trying to see what the significance is.
May I have the floor, Madam President Pro Tem? I think the significance is this. You are correct. There are partisan politics down here. And right now, those partisan politics are 13 Democrats, 1 independent, and 12 Republicans. It's a narrow margin. People do vote in blocks. And at the end of the day is with such tight margins, one particular block could bring ill will upon the rules on another particular block. And so by increasing the vote margin to required of 18, it would take a supermajority of this Metro Council. And so thus being, the rules cannot be used against one party or the other. It can't be used against one block or the other to try to manipulate the process. The rules, in essence, become, in essence, sacred. In order to change those rules, it would take 18 people on this council. And if 18 people can agree the rule needs to be changed, then there's a damn good chance that rule needs to be changed. And that's the purpose of this vote. I hope I answered your question. If not, please ask another question.
No, you answered it. Just one last part of this. So right now, the supermajority is used, say, for instance, for special occasions. Is this bringing everything to that accord? Because I remember there was something we had to do as a council. I don't know if it was something, an ethics thing or something like that, and it required a supermajority for that. Is this bringing in everything into alignment? Because I feel like a lot of ill will still happens with 14 votes. So I'm just trying to understand where we are with that.
Madam President Pro Tem, can I answer that?
Yes.
The purpose of this rule has nothing to do with the other issues that might require 18 votes. For instance, calling the question requires 18 votes. There are other issues that require 18 votes. This has nothing to do with that. This has solely to do with the fact that we make sure moving forward that no one particular party dominates the other and uses the rules to try to dominate the other. It equals the playing field regardless of what party you're in, and even if you're the sole independent in this room. It equals that playing field because it says if you're going to change the rules, it's going to take more than just one party or one little block of votes to do it, to try to dominate another. And so it really makes it more of an equal situation moving forward, in my opinion. Any other questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Thank you for answering my question.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any other questions? I see nobody in the queue.
Pro Tem, I'm in the queue.
I didn't see you in the queue. I apologize. Councilman Littleton, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President Pro Tem. It's not a question. I'm entering debate. I have a knee-jerk opposition to this as an anti-majoritarian resolution, rule change. I don't understand. I feel like there's a tension between the arguments that have been made that, that this is a brand-new day on the Metro Council with the next election cycle being nonpartisan, and yet we have maintained the majority and the minority caucus structure intentionally by state law. When the new Metro Council leadership was announced, it was stressed that the purpose of Metro Council is inherently not partisan, that the business of Metro Council is paving roads, I believe was the words that President Ackerson used. But this speaks to a hyperpartisanship, that we need to be concerned that if one caucus were to lose the majority standing that it has had since the establishment of the council, that this raises a new concern. And so I guess I would definitely be interested in hearing from members of the minority caucus their position on this rule change. I do feel, as someone who, has, perhaps I'm a member of the on-paper majority caucus, I definitely have, I think everyone in this room understands, a minority political position. And I would like to see, the rights of at least a bare majority of a council preserved, especially if we're going to be making a rule change that, would not be able to be undone by the next body by a simple majority vote. So, I personally am unconvinced. I do plan currently to vote no. I would really love to hear from members of the other caucus on this issue. Thank you.
You have the floor. Okay.
Thank you, Madam President Pro Tem. So gladly, I'll indulge my colleagues' request to hear from members of the minority caucus. Bluntly, when President Ackerson approached me about wanting to make the rule change, if I'm being skeptical and partisan, I would say I find it fascinating that the moment my caucus gets to its highest number it's ever been, within one vote of being in the majority, he wants to change it to a supermajority in order to change rules, okay? So there was that part of me that's like, if I want to be super partisan, I have that concern. But at the end of the day, I think, I know my colleague to not have that was not going through his mind, and that he does believe, knowing him for as many years as I have now, that there's certain things on this council that should transcend partisanship, and one of them should be the rules. And we have seen, there are certain things, we talked about a few of them here, that do require a supermajority. Calling the question is one of them. Why? Because calling the question stops debate. It eliminates people's ability to talk, and who are elected, duly elected representatives of their constituency. So it makes it important that a simple majority by itself can't do that. There have been former presidents of this council, and maybe even, I know at least a former president of the council, who maybe flippantly made the comment that with 14 people, you can do, quote, whatever you want to do, unquote, in these chambers. And I think that, if we want to have a stable, functioning council, I think it's a reasonable thing to say that rule changes that are pretty serious business. I mean, it completely determines the flow, the arc. We could change Robert's Rules of Order. We have exceptions to Robert's Rules of Order in our rules that changes how we debate, how the flow of functioning works here, how people can talk in all this. So I'm in full support of this. I think it's a reasonable thing. And again, to assuage maybe some of my colleagues' concerns, if I'm being hyperpartisan about this, I'm voting against it because there could be an opportunity, right, for, if the minority caucus becomes the majority caucus, then, they could use those same 14 votes the majority caucus has used for now 23 or 24 years on this council to change rules when it suited them. But that's not good business. That's not the way the council should operate from a rules perspective. Legislatively, that's different. It should be a simple majority. I would never endorse any other change to that. But rules, I think it's reasonable to say a supermajority to change it. So I support my colleague's amendment and appreciate his reasons for bringing it up. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Madam President Pro Tem.
All right. Councilman Winkler, you have the floor.
Thank you. Councilman Piagentini made my point precisely about the calling the question, right? It is the majority stifling the voice of the minority. To me, this is exactly equivalent and merit support.
All right. Don't see no one else in the queue.
A point of order.
Let the record reflect, I've assumed the
I
chair.
believe it would be most appropriate that she would be the one that calls for the vote, since this is yours.
We can do that.
It's just a suggestion.
I'm going to relieve it again at the request of Councilman Kramer.
All right, clerk, you want to call the? We can do a roll call vote, please.
Voting's open. Councilmember Parrish Wright.
Present.
Councilman Rena Weber.
Aye.
Yeah, I voted. Oh, well, nope, I'm in the wrong seat. Yes.
Vote yes. Voting's closing. Madam Pro Tem, you have 22 yes votes, 2 no, and 1 present.
All right, the resolution passes. And you never see back.
And I'm back in the chair. All right, Madam Clerk, a reading of item 47, please.
Item 47, an ordinance appropriating $2,000 from neighborhood development funds in the following manner: $2,000 from District 4 through the Office of Management and Budget to the Coalition for the Homeless Incorporated for costs associated with the Stand Down Project Homeless Connect event. Read in full.
The item is properly before us. Councilwoman Parker, this came out of your committee. You have the floor, madam.
Yes, thank you. This was on old business. It's Councilman Herndon's piece of legislation. I'll let him speak to it, but it was just amended to add more funds.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. May I call the Director of the Coalition for the Homeless to the microphone? Am I allowed to do that? No? Yes? May I call Natalie Harris to the microphone to speak briefly?
What's that?
May I call the Natalie Harris from the Coalition to speak briefly?
Mr.
I don't have to. She's here. I just wanted to acknowledge her. I'll just acknowledge her. There she is. Okay, never mind.
There we go.
Many of you have been very generous via email to add to this total, and I just want to give you another chance to do so this evening before we vote. What's the total currently? Do we have it? Sorry about that.
The total currently is at $9,500, and the total ask is $20,000.
First in my queue is Councilwoman Chapel. You have the floor, madam.
Thank you. Someone just say something? Okay. I believe that your legislative aide had come and said that there were 7 people who were signed on to give, but she didn't have those amounts in front of her at that time. And I have already committed to $1,000, so I would like to be added for that amount to this. Thank you.
I'm sorry, this is Sonia Harwood, the clerk. Mr. Chair, Mr. President,
Yes, ma'am.
Sonia Harvey, the clerk. So the total right now is actually at $2,000. I do think that 7 additional people are adding on, but it has not been stated yet. So we actually need all of that to be stated into the record.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you.
So, Councilman Chapel, are you done, or do you want to add?
She's added 1,000.
Fantastic. I'm going to go with Councilwoman Shanklin's going to be next in my queue.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. I want to add 250.
Next, I've got Councilwoman Rui.
I'm on there for 1,000 also.
I have Councilwoman Purvis.
500 from District 5.
I've got Councilwoman Raymond.
500 from District 10, please.
I've got Councilman Owen.
Make sure District 9's on the record for 1,000, please.
Am I on? I can't.
Anyone else? I've got no one else in my queue. Anyone else? JP.
Mr. Chair, actually being in queue.
Okay, Councilwoman Parrish Wright, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to donate, but I have not gotten the ethics opinion back, and I've been waiting on that opinion from last year. So as a board member of the coalition, I wanted to make sure that it was okay. I don't receive any financial benefits. So I just wanted to make a statement that I would love to support, but I need to get the opinion to be able to do it. So I'll do it by next year, hopefully.
Let's hold on here. We've got
Thank
the
you.
county attorney's office in here. Let's get them up here and give us an opinion on that, madam. Okay?
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you all. Assistant County Attorney Amanda Baker for the record. So pursuant to Louisville Metro Code of Ordinance 2102B, it states that no Metro officer shall act in his or her official capacity in any matter where an officer member of his or her family or a business organization in which that officer has a financial interest or private interest may reasonably be expected to impair his or her objectivity or independence or judgment. That being said, this may fall within the exception of 21.02I, so long as notice has been given in writing to the Ethics Commission and to the Metro Council clerk.
So the question, Councilwoman Parrish Wright, is this: is you've listed this board position on your ethics, right? So in my opinion, based upon what the lawyers there have said, me being a lawyer, and I would say that you have the ability to donate if you'd like, because
No.
you put it out there.
Please note that the county attorney's office is not the final, it is not binding advice from the county attorney's office. That would require an ethics opinion.
I think you've got the ability to do it, madam.
And I did request the ethics opinion last year, Mr. Chair, and I did again, and I asked the county attorneys last year. I just wanted to make sure that I'm good to do this. And yes, so with that said, I would like to contribute $1,000 towards this.
Thank you, madam.
And Mr. President, can I state the other contributions that we have already?
Please.
Okay.
Okay, so we also have $1,000 from District 7, $1,000 from District 8, $500 from District 13, $250 from District 16, $500 from District 17, $250 from District 20, and $1,000 from District 24.
Okay.
That's it, I'm sorry.
Councilman Hawkins, you're next to my queue.
1,000 from District 1.
Councilwoman Bast, you're next to my queue.
500 from District 14.
Anyone else? JP, you're up.
500 from District 6.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk, what's? Councilman Bratcher, you've got the floor. Did you guys, ladies, did you get that 500 from Councilman Bratcher and 22? Tongue-tied today. Anyone else? What's our total now?
14,250.
All right, can I get a motion for the amended version of this? Got a second? Items brought before us. All those in favor of the amended amounts for this ordinance, say aye.
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 Any in opposition? Hearing no opposition, we now have the amended version before us. Seeing no one else in the queue, Madam Clerk, please open this for a roll call vote.
Voting's open. Councilmember Parrish Wright,
Yes.
Councilmember Reno Weber,
Aye.
Councilmember Raymond, she's gone. Yes. Councilmember Syme. Yes. Voting is closing. President Erickson, you have 25 yes votes.
The ordinance passes. The next item on our agenda is item 48. A reading of that, please.
Item 48, an ordinance appropriating $4,500 from the Neighborhood Development Funds in the following manner: $3,000 from District 21, $1,000 from District 8, and $500 from District 15 through the Office of Management and Budget to the Beachmont Presbyterian Church Incorporated for the costs associated with the Healthy Families Walking Together project as amended, read in full.
Motion.
Item is brought before us. Councilwoman Parker, this came out of your committee. You have the floor, madam.
Yes, thank you. This is Councilwoman Rui's appropriation, and she may want to speak to it. I think it's on old business amended to ask for more money.
Councilwoman Rui, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. So I'd like to tell you a little bit of story about this. You all may remember during COVID when they established the learning hubs for students who were not being successful during virtual learning, and that included a lot of children of immigrant families. And so they were given, the Beachmont Presbyterian Church was given the opportunity to produce one of those hubs, and they have continued it as La Escuelita. So they're using that as a venue to work with students on their academics and their social emotional skills. And although it is sponsored by Beachmont Presbyterian Church, they are under no obligation or expectation to be a member of that church. Most of them are not. But they do go there 4 and 5 days a week for services to help with their education. And I've got some really good data here on kids who have gone up by almost an entire year in a few months' worth of interventions, and students whose social skills have improved considerably. And the Families Walking Together program is designed to help the families with social skills and mental health. So they're asking for money from us today to help continue that journey for these students as they struggle to be successful in Jefferson County schools.
Anyone else in the queue? I've got no one.
How much were you asking for?
The ask is 10,000, we currently have 4,500.
Ask us 10,000, we're at 4,500.
Mr. Chair, if I can.
Yes, ma'am, you've got the floor. Councilman Parrish, right?
Sorry, you all. I'm on vacation. I don't have the tablet with me, so I'm sorry I got to keep chiming in like this. But I would like to contribute 1,300 from District 3, please.
Thank you. We've got 1,300. That takes us to 5,800. Andrew.
500 from District 9, please.
That's going to take us to 6,300 of the 10,000 asked. Anyone else?
I want District 2.
Councilman Bratcher?
500 from 22.
Councilman Reed?
500 from District 16.
Anyone else?
District 2,
Councilwoman Shanklin says
500.
500. Anyone else?
What's that?
What's that?
What's that?
I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
What's that?
What's
Yeah.
that? What's the total at right now?
It is 7,800.
7,800, so 2,200 off.
500 from District 1.
1,700 off. See no one else in the queue?
Okay.
What's that? Councilman Rudy?
Yes, if there's no one else to add to this, I want to top it off, but I'm going to give you all the opportunity.
Okey doke. So you're going to take us to the full 10?
Yes, I am.
All right. Can I get a motion and a second for the amended version?
Motion.
All those in favor of the amended version, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing no opposition, now we have the amended version before us. It requires a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, open the roll, please.
Voting's open. Councilmember Parrish Wright?
Yes.
Councilmember Reno Weber?
Aye.
Councilmember Herndon? Voting's closing. President Eckerson, you had 25 yes votes.
The ordinance passes. Madam Clerk, read item 49, please.
Item 49, an ordinance appropriating $5,000 from the Neighborhood Development Funds in the following manner. $5,000 from District 1 through the Office of Management and Budget to the D'Angelo Russell Foundation Corporation for the costs associated with the second annual D'Angelo Russell Day event at Algonquin Park. Read in full.
You got a second?
Second.
Items brought before us. Councilman Parker, this came out of your committee, I believe, so you got the floor again, madam.
Okay. This is Councilwoman Hawkins' ordinance, and I believe it was amended also. I will let her speak to it.
You have the floor, madam.
Yeah, thank you. Well, you know, D'Angelo Russell Day is passed. It was a great day. A lot of free stuff was given away. Successful tournament and safe. So everyone could just kind of give what they want to give. Thank you.
All right, I've got nobody in my queue. Anybody?
Mr. Chair, I would like to contribute. Is there a balance?
She just said whatever you want to put in there.
Balance of $11,131. Councilwoman Parrish Wright, you've got my floor at the moment. Councilwoman Shanklin's next.
All right, I'll do 700.
Councilwoman Shanklin?
500 from District 2.
Councilwoman Purvis?
500 from District 5.
Anyone else? Andrew?
250 from 9.
I do 500 from District 4, please.
Anyone else?
250, 24.
Anyone else? Councilman Reed?
250 from District 16.
Councilwoman
250 from 14.
Bass? Anyone else?
250 from 12.
250 from 12? 250 from 22. Councilman Bratcher's 250? Anyone? Councilman Son?
250, 13. 17, 250.
Anyone else? Okay, can I get a motion for the amended version? Items brought before us. Also in favor of the amended version, say aye. Any in opposition?
Aye.
Hearing no opposition, that passes. Now we have the amended version before us. Let's do a roll call vote on that, please.
Councilmember Parrish Wright,
Yes.
Councilmember Reno Weber,
Aye.
voting's closing. President Eckerson, you have 25 yes votes.
The ordinance is adopted. The next item, Madam Clerk, a reading of item 50, please.
Item 15, appropriating appropriating $1,000 from Neighborhood Development Funds in the following manner. $1,000 from District 2 through the Office of Management and Budget to Family Scholar House Incorporated for the annual park backpack bash scheduled for July 28th through August 1st, 2025 at the 5 Louisville area campuses. Ready full?
Motion. Second.
Items brought before us. Councilman Parker, this came from your committee. You have the floor, madam.
Yes, once again, this was amended. Councilwoman Shanklin, Barbara Shanklin, this is hers, and so I will let her speak to it.
Thank you. This is not in my district, but they just asked me to bring it to the floor. It's for backpacks and school supplies, and the district that the scholarship house is in is District 6, 4, 1, and 15. So they're asking for funding from 6, 4, 1, and 15. And next year, I'll let one of them take care of it instead of me. Okay, Tammy.
We've got a $4,000 balance left on this one, folks. So let me get on my queue here.
None of them saying anything.
And it looks like we've got Councilwoman Purvis. Nope, am I on the wrong?
You getting nervous to say no.
Yeah.
I can't get in the queue.
Can't get in either.
I got, okay, we've updated, I've got Councilwoman Chapel in the queue.
250 from 15.
Councilman Owen,
259.
Councilwoman Rui,
250-21.
Councilor Hernan,
1,000 from District 4.
Councilor Hawkins,
1,000 from District 1.
Mr. Chair, if there's a balance of how much is left?
I think it's $1,250.
1250?
District 3, we can do that.
Did I hear you correctly? You're going to go for the full 1250?
Yes, sir.
All right, that puts us at the asking point. This is going to require a voice vote. Do I get a motion? And second, I'm propping for us. All in favor say aye of the amended version. Any in opposition?
Aye.
Hearing no opposition that the amended version is before us, it requires a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, open the roll.
Mr. President, we can actually do a voice vote on this one. It's an NDF.
NDF. All right, so let's do a voice vote then. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any in opposition? Hearing no opposition, passes. It's adopted.
Okay.
Madam Clerk, a reading of item 51.
Item 51, an ordinance of the Louisville Jefferson County Metro Council to approve the annexation by the Louisville of Indian Hills, City of Indian Hills, of a tract of land known as Old Federal Road contiguous to the present boundary of said city, but not contiguous to the boundary of the former city of Louisville and being in the unincorporated area of the former county of Jefferson. Ready and full?
Item is brought before us, Councilman Purvis. This came out of your committee. You have the floor, madam. Councilman Reed is a sponsor. The floor has been tendered to you.
Thank you. I heard you,
I'm sorry.
Councilwoman, I heard you. No, that's fine. So this is the city of Indian Hills, which is in District 16, annexing 13 homes. And by state law, Metro Council cannot vote to deny this, but we still have to make I guess, a vote out of just process to forward this. And I'm not quite sure how that works because I think this is the first time that we've done this, if I'm not mistaken. So they did meet all the criteria for annexation, having a contiguous road, the number of signatures that had to be met, et cetera, et cetera. So if somebody has a question about the process and the reasoning behind us not having the wherewithal to not vote for something like this, please feel free to ask the county attorney who's here.
Anyone have any questions for the county attorney? Seeing none, this is going to be an ordinance that requires a roll call vote. No, who's in the queue? I don't have you in my queue.
I may be on the wrong item. That may be my fault. Mr. President, if I may have the floor, even though I'm on the wrong item.
You've got the floor, regardless of being in my queue or not.
Thank you. And I appreciate the explanation, Councilman Reed. And you may not know, I believe you do, though. What you said 13 households? What was the vote among those 13 households for being annexed?
It was unanimous.
Okay, I just want to make sure that the record reflects.
Yes.
All 13 households that are being annexed are asking us to allow them to be annexed. So whether the state says it's necessary or not, I would posit that we, as a group, should acknowledge the will of those 13
Yeah, those
households.
13 houses approached the city of Indian Hills to be annexed.
Thank you, Mr. President.
We've always known I voted no on every annexation. But for state law, I would be voting no. But state law says I got to vote yes. So, I don't see, we're all voting yes. I don't see why we're voting, but let's go with a roll call vote.
So you vote.
Councilmember Paris Wright,
Yes.
Councilmember Rena Weber,
Reluctantly, aye.
voting's closing. President Eckerson, you have 23 yes and 2 present.
The item passes. The next item on our agenda will be item number 52. Reading that, please, Madam Clerk.
Item 52, an ordinance amending section 123.01 through 123.06, sections 123.32, 123.35, 123.37, and 123.99, and creating a new section of Chapter 123 of the Louisville Metro Code of Ordinances, LMCO, regarding the regulated property and restricted metals, amended by substitution. Read in full.
Item is up before us. This comes from my good friend, District 13. Councilman Syme, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This item, amendment was brought in by LMPD, and we're trying to honor their request. And I've asked County Attorney Alice Lyons to explain the amendment.
Yes. May I suggest that we hear from the sponsor?
Point of order. Can I ask that we throw this to Councilman Kramer for his First Amendment?
Absolutely. Councilman Kramer, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd point out to my colleagues that this item was originally before us back on June 12th. It came out of committee with a favorable vote on the evening of the 12th. There was to be another vote. The police, there were some questions about some of what was in there. The police asked if we would hold it at the council level. And then it was again before us on the 26th, which was the same night we voted on the budget. And so I asked that we hold it that night so we could take care of a few things. In the interim, between the time that an ordinance passed but was asked to be held and tonight, I had a chance to work together with the scrap industry as well as the telecom industry, and we made some changes. Before us tonight is a floor amendment that includes changes that have been made since we were here last. Those changes are on page 2. Oh, and by the way, if you're in your system and you're looking at attachments, the item that's before us right now is 082725, proposed floor amendment by substitution. It's the first thing on the list, so if you want to open it to there, that's where we are. This is the ordinance that was before the council, that was held at the council level with these minor change, well, I would consider minor changes. On page 2, infrastructure wiring is now expressly excludes household cords and cables with a power source, connector, Christmas lights, Ethernet cable, things like that. The industry pointed out, quite rightly, that the way we talked about wiring, it sounded like if you take your Christmas lights in, and so that's not what we meant, so we changed the language to reflect that. On page 4, there's a technical change to move placement of infrastructure wiring into the list of regulated property, so that the infrastructure wire would not be inadvertently included in worn out fair scrap later on. On page 5, when the last time the industry and I spoke, I made it clear to them and was still trying to figure out, there was language in there that said that there was an exemption for an item which the highest value was as scrap. The problem is if you, and again, this is not new to anybody I've spoken with, I've said it to everybody who would listen. The problem is if you leave that language there, you're basically saying that if you have something that is actually valuable, the thing that you should do is cut it into pieces so that its highest value is scrap. And it's like that's was obviously never the intent, and the scrap dealers don't want that either. That's not their goal. And so we searched around for language. We finally landed on language which is still somewhat ambiguous. I wish I could find better language, but this is what we came with was instead of the highest value as scrap, it changes the language to reflect worn out or outlived its original use. I know that's a little bit more confusing, but we're trying to seek something better. On page 6, utility wire, the definition is clarified. Also on page 6, And again, I sent out a message to the scrap industry, to let them know. We had originally settled on $75 as a license fee. That number it wasn't based on anything. I had asked the codes and regulations, like what a fee should be, and the fee they came back with was a very high license fee. It reflected like pawn shops and jewelry. I didn't think that was a very appropriate fee. But I understand that $625 is the same fee that we use for secondhand dealers. So that fee at least matches up with. It seems reasonable, so we've paired that. So that's being changed. On page 10, there's a technical change to conform license plate collection data to language from KRS. And on page 10, there's also a technical change to ensure that vehicle scrapping information collected stays the same. So those are the changes that are in the floor amendment that I'm proposing tonight. I tried to work with everybody and make sure that we were kind of all on the same page. I did hold this at one point at the request of the police department so that, we could get back together and hash out some things. And so after communications with everyone, this was the ordinance that I felt like I could, in good conscience, put my name on with all the work that had been done. And so I'm asking colleagues, please, for a vote on this tonight. Again, it's already been postponed a couple of times. I'm really hoping that we can get a yes vote. Thank you.
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Simon, you're my cue. You're on the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to offer an amendment, and I've asked County Attorney.
Point of order, Mr. President. Can we get a vote on this on the floor amendment first?
You want to get the floor amendment before us?
Yes, please.
Let's do that first. Councilman Simon, you okay with that?
Yep, I'm good.
Sort of clean house on it? All right, so all those in favor of the floor amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? Hearing no opposition, we now have the amended version before us. Councilman Simon, the floor is yours again, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to turn this over to County Attorney Alice Lyons to explain this amendment brought forth by the LMPD, please.
This amendment is in your system, and it's proposed as a floor amendment to the floor amendment by substitution that you just adopted, because we love to say the words floor amendment over and over. And this version differs from the version that Councilmember Kramer put forward by making the definition of regulated property that's in this bill and restricted metals, they get the same level of reporting. There's not a difference between one kind of recycled material and another in terms of the information that's gathered when the seller brings that in. And there's also a change. There was a piece that was stricken that was about reporting requirement being uploaded at 11 a.m. in the morning. That's been restored. And when license plate numbers are manually entered versus just taking a photo of them, that's another addition in the version that Councilmember Simon is proposing. So those are the key differences.
Motion.
All right, we've got the motion before us for Councilman Simon's amended version, but I do see Councilman. I'll wait for the main motion. Okay. Any other discussion on this amendment? None. This amendment requires a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing no opposition, we now have the new amended version before us. JP, you've got the floor.
I'm not going to go on at length because it is my anniversary and I'm probably already in trouble for being here. I did voice my opposition to the ordinance in committee. I do the same tonight. I think that this casts too broad a net. I think that people are going to get caught up with what is essentially a presumption of guilt for the transportation of these materials. It will largely fall on people of very limited means, very limited education, and very little capacity to advocate for themselves, whether that is before an officer who's pulled them over, before the code enforcement, as they're arguing for the return of their vehicle. And the amendments have also, broadened the definition of the contraband. I just can't support this, although I do think it's a serious issue and that we should be taking care of it. I just can't support it in this form. Thank you.
Councilman Piagentini, you're next in my queue.
Thank you. Let me begin by saying happy anniversary. Marriage is a wonderful institution, and congratulations. I do want to, we debated this on the floor, so again, I'm not going to rehash my disagreements. I have disagreements with my colleague, but I do want to focus on thanking Councilman Kramer and the many, many other people that were involved in this. There's a lot of people who have been heads down in trying to create tools and solve this problem, both tactically and strategically. And this is very difficult legislation because there's so many competing interests. And you try to thread that needle related to legitimate business owners who are trying to do the right thing, and then criminal activity who's taking advantage of our community. It's very, very hard. And I just wanted to acknowledge the incredible amount of work. There's a task force that's been going on, and a lot of people involved in that, LMPD's work, Codes and Regs work, and I do want to thank my colleague, Councilman Kramer, for what was a long way of a lot of negotiating to get this where it is. So thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to supporting it.
Councilwoman Parrish Wright, I believe you're in the queue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Happy anniversary, JP. I have an ocean behind me and a husband in my hotel room that's mad at me. So I will tell you that I don't want to go back and forth. I share the same sentiments as JP. I don't just say no just to say no. I'm always looking at things from a fairness and an equity lens. And I think about the proof of, the burden it puts on people to provide these things. But I do recognize the hard work that Councilman Kramer and the task force and everyone puts into it. So it's a complicated problem. I do agree with Councilman Piagentini, but I do think it takes a multifaceted approach. So I'm going to be voting present just because I have some concerns about the fees and the burden of proof, people's licenses being pictured, and I just worry about profiling and things like that. So, but this is not to take away from the work. It's not a no just to be no. It's a no because I know what this work looks like on the ground. I know what it looks like for people who get caught up, and it's really hard to prove yourself innocent when you're already seen as guilty. So that's it. I mean, I just want to commend all the work on this and let you and explain my vote in it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Madam. Councilman Hawkins, you have the floor.
Thanks. Well, first I want to commend my colleague, Councilman Kramer, for putting in the work to do this. I've been asking for quite some time. Got a lot of calls from my office just concerned about the safety of people, all the way going to the east end from the west end of it being dark on the expressways. A lot of homicides were taking place because they knew it was dark, a lot of wrecks. It just is a number one priority. I will be in support of this. My only concern, I will say, is that, the business owners and the level of fines that they're going to get, because LMPD will not be policing this. Not sure, after talking with Councilman Kramer, it wasn't, not that I don't think that he's totally against it, but I don't think that they were like with him shooting in the gym, if you know what I mean when I say that, from the beginning of this, right? So, the business owner will suffer a little bit. So I'm going to be in support of this. My constituents have been crying for lights, and it's the number one safety priority is for us to have lights on our expressways, and I think I was told once before that it was state. I needed to contact the state level, that I couldn't get any help with that. So I will be in support with this. Thank you.
Anyone else? I know that Councilman Reno Weber is excited about the copper pirates getting busted. Look, there's a smile.
They're a scourge on our city.
There we go. Other than that, anyone else? We can keep JP here longer, get him in trouble on his anniversary? No takers? All right. No one else is in the queue. This is an ordinance that requires a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, open the roll.
Councilmember Paris Wright,
Present.
Councilmember Rena Weber,
Aye.
Next time I'm
voting's closing. President Eggerson, you have one present, one no, and 23 yes votes. Yeah.
The order is adopted. Councilman Kramer, congratulations. Next item will be item number 53. A reading of that, please, Madam Clerk.
Item 53, an ordinance amending the Louisville Metro Code of Ordinances, LMCO, Chapter 51 regarding penalty enhancements for illegal dumping, amended by substitution, read in full.
Do we have a motion?
Second.
Items properly before us. Councilman Simon, this came out of your committee. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to need you to advise me on this. We have an amendment to this bill here.
Okay.
How do we handle that?
Well, let's do this. Why don't you tell us about the bill and then tell us what the amendment is? We'll have it read in the record, and then we will vote on the amendment. And then put the amended version before us for further discussion. Will that work?
If you want, however you want to do it.
That's the
But
way we're
right
gonna
now,
roll.
we're trying to increase fines for illegal dumping. It has been an issue in my district since I've been a councilman. Seems like nothing's working but fining these folks and taking their vehicles. So that's what we're trying to do, is enhance these penalties. And I'm asking for you to help me on this ordinance.
My understanding is we've got an amendment to this ordinance. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
I presume the county attorney is going to read the amendment.
I can't tell if this is, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Robbie Howard with the Jefferson County Attorney's Office. And when we're talking about amendment, are we talking about the amendment by substitution or the?
Are we doing amendment by substitution? Is that what we've got? Or just, are we amending the present ordinance?
We're amending.
We're amending.
The change, is this what we're, okay, the change that we're talking about would be increasing the penalties for a first offense from $500 to $1,000, for a second offense from $1,000 to $2,000, and for a third offense from $2,000 to $3,000.
Do I have a motion for that?
Second.
The amendment's before us. Let's do a vote to get the amended version before us. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition?
Aye.
Hearing no opposition. Now we have the amended version before us. Let me get in my queue. Anyone want to speak to now the amended version? JJ, you want to? You got it.
Yes, thank you. Where this kind of stemmed from, and I know that it was, it's just some numbers that I've asked to be changed. We sat down with some individuals that have been impacted by illegal dumping, but also that have been doing it legally, and they voiced the $500 amount from the first time is not considered, the risk reward is very low. So if someone is going to do it, a $500 may not stop them for what they can get on the other side. Now, with that being said, I also realize that this likely isn't the final deterrent to be able to make people not illegal dump, that's probably going to come in the form of resources, manpower, camera, and whatnot. But the hope is that we make it financially a bigger hit the first time. And then if they decide that they want to come back a second and third time, that we raise that up to kind of the max where we can at $2,000 and $3,000. I think we send a strong message here that this city is not the dumping grounds of bad actors in this regard. And so going harder than or where we can financially, I just believe that to be where we should. I believe it's right now at $500, am I right? $500. And so part of the efforts I'm hoping to clean up the city is that we go all in financially when it comes to fining.
Anyone else? I've got no one else in my queue. Anyone else want to speak to this? Councilman Hawkins.
Yeah, please. So I don't know if this will be a question to the county attorney's office, because I was supposed to follow up with my colleague, Councilman JJ, about this. There are, for sure, in the West End, there are already signs that says $1,000. And I was supposed to take some pictures and send those to him. So I'm just not quite sure that that's accurate. it is, I mean, does it depend fines up to, or is it fines, or is it just certain areas? I need to understand what determines the fine. Is it the area? What is it? Because I've seen some signs that say 250. Some signs may say 500. But I've also seen fines that also say up to 1,000. I need to be able to identify what is dumping is dumping. Right? So I just kind of want to be able to identify, or somebody kind of give me what are they going by, you know, and that is what I want to know that determines the fine. Not to mention, we have a shortage, and this may be something that one of my older colleagues on council can tell me, like, does the fines go back into the pot? Because we have a shortage of cameras. So we can't even catch the bad actors because we don't have enough cameras to catch them. They move them around from spot to spot. So I'm just a little concerned about this, and I don't know if I can jump on board until I can get some answers for those. Dumping is dumping, whether it's in the east end, the west end, or the south end. And we need more adequate cameras to be able to catch these bad actors, and that is why it has gotten so worse.
JJ or Dan, you want to answer that? I see Donna's waving her hand. Donna, you want to jump in?
I just wanted to say that I wanted to be added as a sponsor, but if we increase the fines, we can afford to get some more cameras.
Yep. But
But
back
we ain't even
to,
catching the bad actors.
hold on here, back to Tammy's question. Dan or JJ, you want to jump on that one?
Yeah, when I spoke with Pete Flood yesterday, we were told that the money that is taken out goes back into the general fund to be able to put in towards resources. Now, as of last year, I was also told there was less than 100 cases of individuals that were caught dumping. And so the idea is that it would go back, I believe, from what I've been told, into the fund to be able to help resource-wise.
Dan?
Yeah, and if we have signs that does not reflect the new ordinance, then we need to change the signs. It's that simple.
Because we don't know how long those signs have been up for in regards of, the outdate. That's a good point.
Kevin, you're up. Councilman Bratcher, you're next to my queue. Okay, you were in my queue. Councilman Piagentini, you're next to my queue.
Thank you, and I'm in full support of this, obviously. I was going to say to my colleague from District 1, Councilman Hawkins, that I would bet that, number one, it says up to, and number two, those signs are completely dated. And obviously, we need to, work with Public Works to get them defined. There's nothing in the ordinance that's regional. The penalty is the same across the county, as it should be. I do want to speak to the increase in the fines. Not only do I support this, but I want to sort of give a hint to what we need to be doing, and something I'm already starting to look into, and that is our fines and penalties across multiple ordinances and issues across the city. I will point everyone to, and there were some people that weren't on council at the time, Councilwoman George had a problem, or well, now Deputy Mayor George had a problem with illegal truck parking in her district. And when we looked into it, the fine to illegally park a truck in her district was less than what it cost in the commercial market to legally park that truck in a legal parking lot. That is obviously ridiculous. And I think that's part of what's going on, is that we have many people, I mean, this happened in New York City. I remember back in the day, double parking was a colossal issue. The contractors used to double park, the HVAC companies, they would double park in alleyways and on roads and all this stuff, because the fine was so low, they would just add it to the bill, and like, it just wasn't a thing. It was cost of doing business, right, in New York City. Well, they got smart about it, and they like quadrupled the fine, and all of a sudden it went away, right? Because the benefit was not there anymore. And I think we need to take a hard look at all of our fines and penalties and ensure that they are aligned with, with the current market, the current time. A lot of these are set in ordinance 20, sometimes 30 years ago. And I applaud the overall ordinance from Councilman Syme, right, and continuing to combat illegal dumping, and the amendment to increase the fines and make it so it's truly a penalty to those that are going to take this risk and destroy our city. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm in total support of this ordinance on both sides, the amendment and the original ordinance. What I would like to bring to our attention, maybe we can try this to Councilwoman Hawkins's point. Can the funds go back, can we add language to go back into swims to put towards surveillance? Is that something that is allowed by the county attorney? I mean, just throwing it out there, just up for conversation. But I will, and I suggest, and I hope that all the rest of my colleagues are for this ordinance.
Mr. County Attorney, I think he's suggesting, can the funds go back directed towards furthest of the program? If they can't, what you do is, when it's budget time, see how much money came in and shift it. County Attorney's got the floor.
Yeah. Laura Ferguson, Assistant County Attorney. We did something, I'm pulling it up right now, but we did something similar with the short-term rentals and the licensing, where we said that there was an increased licensing fee, but that the increase was supposed to be used to fund further enforcement. And so I'm just trying to pull up that language, but.
So it sounds like we can.
By amendment? How do you do that? By amendment?
One option would be this, folks. Could we table this, let the county attorney get an intelligent opinion, and we come back to it? No? No, I'm just saying table it, or just, we'll vote on it tonight, but just give her some time, or we can sit here and wait for it, one of the two.
Are you saying table it as in like the
Mr.
next few minutes?
Mr. President, I make a motion that we table it at council until after we vote on item number 56.
It would be item number 35, which was
I'm sorry,
put off.
item 35.
So we'll move this to the last item,
Yes.
and that'll give Laura some time to do her due diligence. Does that work for you? We've got a motion to table it.
Second.
Second, all those in favor of tabling it to the end of the evening, say aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? Hearing no opposition, this is going to be tabled temporarily. Which takes us now to, Madam Clerk, reading item number 54.
Item 54, an ordinance relating to the detailed district development plan for the properties located at 16907 and 16907R Aiken Road, containing approximately 55.87 acres and being in Louisville Metro, case number 24 DDP 0078 as amended.
Motion.
Item brought before us, Councilman Owen. This came out of your committee. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, President Ackerson. So this is zone PRD. Property is a portion of a larger parcel just northwest of Lake Forest Country Club near the intersection of Aiken and Johnson Roads. The zoning was changed in 2021. So this is kind of a complicated thing that Councilman Piazza, it's in his district, and he's been working on it, and I think he'll be way better at explaining it than I will be. I will say the amendment that was put forward passed out of committee unanimously, so Councilman Piagentini.
You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to Chairman Owen. So just to be super clear, this is not a rezoning case. As Chairman Owen stated, this was rezoned a couple years ago. This represents a single-family home development of almost 850 units in my district, actually east on Aiken Road, away from Lake Forest a little bit, but there are a couple other subdivisions there. Just on the north side of that intersection, what the developer did here, we put a binding element that any changes or substantive changes to the development had to come back through council for a vote. That's what's happened here. The developer made changes. Largely, those changes were sort of reconfiguring where the housing is on site. One of the biggest outcomes of it is that it actually almost doubles the open space by aggregating the homes into more sort of dense areas on the property. There were two issues that came up on the record during the process through the Planning Commission. One was there was a binding element that at the time stated that the developer had to contribute to an off-site road improvement. So significantly west of this development is the intersection of Arnold Palmer Road and Aiken Road. That the developer had to put a turn lane into that intersection. The city, including myself, Public Works, now the Department of Transportation and others, have said that we should actually put a traffic circle there instead of the turn lanes. The way that binding element is written as of today would make the developer out of compliance, but in reality, they were sort of ordered to do it that way. So they're still contributing the same dollar amount to the improvement on that intersection. It is just the amendment accurately reflects that now there's going to be a traffic circle instead of turn lanes at that intersection in the binding element. The other binding element that was amended relates to the total amount of units on the property. So there was concern, again voiced on the record from the community, that if the developer keeps coming back over time, I mean, developments this big take upwards of 10 years to completely build out. Could they continue making changes that add to the density and add to the amount of units on that plot of land? And so the ask was, could we get some certainty or some language that tightens up that, we're not going to build any more than this? Technically, to be super clear, we cannot create a binding element that says you can build no more than this many units. But the county attorney's office came up with language that strengthens the language, making it more difficult to add units to the total amount. To be clear, the developer agreed to both of these amendments, so we appreciate their willingness to go along with these amendments and their collaboration with that. Those passed unanimously out of committee, as Chairman Owen stated, and I just ask for your approval this evening to approve the change that came out of the Planning Commission and also approve those amendments that were adopted in committee. Thank you, Mr. President.
See no one else in my queue. This is an ordinance that requires a roll call vote. All those in favor? Actually, Madam Clerk, open the roll.
Councilmember Parrish Wright,
Yes.
Councilmember Rena Weber,
Aye.
Councilmember Winkler. Voting is closing. President Eckerson, you have 24 yes votes.
The ordinance is adopted. Madam Clerk, a reading of item 55, please.
Item 55, an ordinance amending sections 1.2, 2.2, 4.2, and 4.3 of the Louisville Metro Land Development Code, LDC, regarding homelessness and crisis shelters, case number 24, LDC 001, as amended. Ready in full?
Item is brought before us. Councilman Owen, this came out of your committee. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, President Ackerson. So this was initiated by council with Resolution 019-24. We were asking if they could look into permitting more homeless shelters with standards instead of requiring a CUP and create options for temporary crisis shelters when there is a temporary but urgent need for additional shelter space. So planning and zoning went back and looked at this. And I could go through the whole thing now, but we are, I know Councilman Batchon is still working on this and is going to ask possibly for this to be tabled for now. So I'm going to turn it over to Councilman Batchon. He can tell you a little bit about what we have done and about what he's thinking.
Yes, thank you. After just a little bit of deliberation with Councilman Reed and a few others, we feel that we've taken something out in what we passed out of committee that was with unintended consequences. So with just a little bit more advice and conversation with the county attorney over the next few weeks, we want to make sure that we get this right and we don't have to continue to keep bringing it back and forth. So I'm asking this body to send it back to committee so we can hash it all out there.
Motion to send it back to committees before us. This is going to require a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
In opposition? Hearing opposition, that will be sent back to committee. Madam Clerk, a reading of item number 56.
Item 56, an ordinance relating to the zoning property located at 8,000 Broad Run Road, containing approximately 107 acres and being in Louisville Metro, case number 24, zone 0112, as amended by substitution. Ready in full?
Motion.
Item is brought before us. Councilman Owen, you have the floor again.
Thank you, President Ackerson. So this is another one that's a little bit complicated. It's in Councilman Bratcher's district. It's an ordinance denying changing the zoning from RR and R4 to PRD at 8,000 Broad Run Road. The complicating parts of this were our staff at Planning and Design recommended that this be denied. And I'm trying to make this as simple as I can. And then it went to the Planning Commission, and there were some admission on the part of our Planning and Design staff that perhaps they had made some mistakes in coming to that conclusion. The Planning Commission voted 4-3, so it was a split vote on how this should go, but it was approved by the Planning Commission 4-3. It is a 352 single-family development, and there are parts of it that are on a steep slope. There were waivers required for a couple of things related to Floyd's Fork. And so I'll leave it at that for now and kind of, and let Councilman Bratcher talk about the amendment that he had introduced at committee that ended up passing 7-0 to 1 at committee, and he can maybe describe that to us a little bit better. Councilman Bratcher.
Councilman Bratcher, you have the floor.
Thank you, President. It's just like the chairman said, there's a lot of problems with this. Their own staff at Planning Commission recommended not pass. It's just a lot of building on some small areas with small roads, and that's, as you know, that's one of my problems is Broad Run Road is like a farm road, and it was literally caving in a few years ago. Not at the part where it affects this development, but right down the road, less than a half mile, it was literally falling apart, and it was sliding down a hillside. You know, like the chairman said, it violates Floyd's Fork's overlay of 30% the slope. It's trying to get away from that. They asked to go for that, waive that. And there's just, I read here in the mobility goals subsection 4, I guess that's the LDC, the LDC should encourage higher densities within or near existing marketplace corridors or future activity centers and areas that support transit development. Well, this is out in the middle of a field, man. This is nowhere near a marketplace or a activity center. So I hope that we vote yes on this and overturn it with finding of fact.
Councilman Reed, I think you're in my queue.
I was going to speak to the last item, and Councilman Batchon took care of that, so I'm fine. Thank you.
I've got no one else in my queue. Anyone else? No, I'm on item 56. Now, here we go. This queue sucks. I'm just going to call on people. Jenny, you got the floor.
Thank you. I just want to say I do stand in favor of this with the amendments. Per the record, I did have multiple of my constituents reach out, and as they were watching this closely, as you know, that this is close to my district. So thank you for the work on this, Councilman Bratcher, and the committee. Again, I do stand in favor of this.
Tony, you got the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I do want to express one of my concerns. I expressed it in committee, but as Councilman Bratcher said, part of this was waiving some of the new guidance related to the Floyd's Fork DRO. I would tell you, I don't know if, hopefully you all remember how serious that vote was and how much work went into all of that. Part of the issue there was tightening up the guidance and making it a little more black and white so that there would be less waiving of the guidance. And this did not instill confidence that the Planning Commission was kind of getting the point on that issue, right? And so I have serious concerns about that. I appreciate all of Councilman Bratcher's work on this. I do want to be clear to the public. Public reached out to me. some of the concerns were simply like, this area is rural, it's great rural, right? Look, development is coming to all areas of this community. I have development all over my district. But it should be done in a way that makes sense and in a way that is fully thought through. And I think that, in addition to my concerns about Floyd's Fork, which are reflected in the findings of fact, is the issue here. But I did want to differentiate between simply saying an area will never have development in it versus it should be done the right way, and we have fallen short here. I think evidenced by the issues with the planning team and the fact that this was a 4-3 vote from the Planning Commission, not even with the full Planning Commission in attendance for the vote. So thank you very much, Councilman Bratcher, for all your work, and I appreciate everybody's support of this. And I, again, want to say that we need the Floyd's Fork DRO guidance. I just want to make the public statement, should not be waived easily, and I feel like that was precisely what happened here. Thank you, Mr. President.
Andrew?
Thank you, President Ackerson. I wanted to give others a chance to talk about this before I kind of wade back in. I said this at committee, but I would like to say it again in this forum. I'm going to be hard-pressed to vote against housing development in this community for the simple fact that the infrastructure in many of the areas of our community that still have land to be developed have insufficient infrastructure. I'm not going to argue that Aiken Road and other places out in the county, it's a mess, the traffic is a mess, all of those things. I just don't think stopping development in all of those places because we don't have enough infrastructure is the answer. And that's because if we do that, it's a chicken and an egg, and we'll never develop anything in this community, in the suburban areas of this community ever again. And I just don't think that that's the right approach. So the first thing I want to say is I absolutely think that all of us need to be talking to the Jefferson County delegation in the state government, and we need to be trying to partner with the state to help us bring more money for additional infrastructure into this county. We cannot do it alone. There's too much, and it's too expensive. We can't do it alone, and we need to partner together as a group and try to see what we can do to partner with the state to help us in that regard. In this particular instance, because of the fact that, yes, there's a lack of infrastructure, but also because of the other things we've mentioned, the fact that the Planning Commission was split 4-3, the fact that the planning staff recommended denial, the fact that there are issues related to Floyd's Fork and the waivers, coming forth at all, but so quickly after we, passed the new changes of the DRO. So because of all of those things, I agreed to, in my mind, it made sense to support Councilman Bratcher's amendment, and that's why I voted out of committee to do that. I will be doing the same tonight. I just wanted to kind of explain my thought process behind why I'm voting the way I am here, and I would hope that we can work together to try to figure out ways to solve this infrastructure problem, because it really is going to be a chicken and an egg issue. Thank you.
I'm going to relieve the chair to the President Pro Tem and call on myself as I step aside. I want to echo what Councilman Owen just talked about, and that is this, we're in a bad spot right now. We've got suburban areas that traffic is horrendous, the roads need work, but the ultimate problem is going to be this, is the amount of road work that's needed is hundreds of millions of dollars. We don't have that. And so when we talk about the chicken and the egg, on one hand, we can keep denying development, trying to contain the traffic problems, which I've seen. Kevin sent me pictures. It's horrendous out there. So we can keep denying development to avoid the traffic problems, or the other option is to punt to Frankfurt. And Frankfurt's not going to like that, but if we continue to build versus just stop building, the problems will get worse. But then the issue is these constituents now turn to Frankfurt and say, send us more road money, make this work, in which case we can continue to progress, continue to build, and potentially get some progress on the money we need. Because if we rely upon this city budget for the money we need, folks, it ain't going to happen.
We'll fix a little here, a little there, but at the end of the day, as far as development, stagnation is going to be the problem. And if we're talking about housing being a problem, well, we need to develop more housing. And so we're going to have stagnation there on housing. Prices will continue to go up. It's a terrible situation to be in, but it's one that potentially we as a body need to talk as a whole about creating the problem ourselves so that Frankfurt's forced to address it, because those voters turn to the Frankfurt folks and say, send us some money to make this work, or we're going to vote you out of office. But that's sort of where I'm at also. So, Andrew, I concur with you on that, and thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President and Chairman. I understand what you're saying. Believe me, I do. I know we got the Formula Fifth problem that me and Councilman Raymond are familiar with, where the city gets about 45 cents for every dollar it sends in gas tax to Frankfurt. It's just set up that way, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. But, you know, Chairman, you've made this point twice about the traffic. The roads are not going to stop the development, and the roads are coming from Frankfurt. I can tell you right now there's a thing called the Cooper Chapel Phase 3 that's been planned for as long as I've been in office, and it would relieve a lot of the pressure that's going on in Fern Creek. That's a metro project. So we can't blame Frankfurt on that. The feds have given us $18 million on that. And I know the easements and whatnot have took a long time, and I think they're on their last easements. But I won't be hand in hand with you guys on this, because my area is suffering from traffic gridlock. And there's, you know, since I've been in a metro councilman, I've been out walking in these streets, and this is a beautiful city. I mean, and I feel safe down on Main Street and 4th Street, and I do a lot of walking. That's why I've got this tan. Trying to lose weight and be healthy. Some of my friends are losing parts of their body, and it's scaring me. So I've been out walking, and since I've had this job, and it's a beautiful city, and there's nobody down here. You know, I can walk Main Street sometimes at certain parts of the day, and I'm the only person on Main Street, and it's got so much to offer. But everybody wants to build out in the suburbs where you gridlock the traffic, but nobody wants to build here downtown, and where you've got the infrastructure, you've got the restaurants. If you're thinking of nice apartments for young folks coming up through the system, 30-year-olds, whatever, it's a perfect place for them, and they're not here. So why go out there and build and keep gridlocking us on Bardstown Road and some of these other roads when we're not paying attention to what could be done downtown? Let's be the first city that actually follows through with urban renewal. And let's make it easier to build and get rid of some of these overlays, Mr. Chairman. Your area, I think, has got a nice overlay that you got to go through extra hoops before you build anything. Let's get rid of those, or look at those. I'm not saying get rid of them. Look at those and make it easier to build down here at the restaurants. Now, I'm not saying Baxter Avenue doesn't have enough traffic. I know that on a weekend that has a lot of support customers. But man, this downtown area we need to look at that, and let's build towards downtown and not just keep gridlocking out there where there's nothing to do out on Broad Run Road. Mr. President, you build out there, there's nothing to do out there. I mean, except drive back into town to do something. So that's my point, and I appreciate you guys voting yes on this, and I enjoy this discussion. And I know we're all thinking the best things for the city of Louisville, and I know if we keep talking like this and debating, we'll find a good solution for this. And I do appreciate your input. Thank you.
Shamika, you're next in my queue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I could not let this moment pass to say first, I agree with Councilman Owen. I actually agree with a lot of what some of you said, and I've taken a lot of heat for supporting. I want housing everywhere. I haven't been shy about that. We're at 36,000 units short of housing. We have an amazing city that is growing, and that means that we should have housing options for people all over our county. But I still voted and supported with Councilman Bratcher because he gave a reasonable, it wasn't just about NIMBYism, it was about some processes weren't followed in, there's some infrastructure issues and things like that. The issue is that they're everywhere. And in my district, there's a lot of renters, there's a lot of homeowners, and there's still not enough housing. And if you are 36,000 units short, they all can't fit downtown. I'm all for housing density. But we also know urban renewal brought in more gentrification because people want to eat, work, play. And life thrives around water. So that's why river cities get it the most. But even people who have experienced that want to see something new and built. And people should have housing options that lets them scale up if they need to and scale out. Some people are tired of being downtown. They want to move out into the county more. And so, unfortunately, it's actually a fortunate thing because we know that mixed use housing is very beneficial for everyone and it helps us in so many ways. And we just saw annexation. Since I've been on here, I've seen 2 votes for annexation. That is going to keep happening. And so we gotta, if we're going to keep running off this city budget, we also got to increase the housing stock inside of our county, all over our county, because we're losing homeowners and so 13 here, 20 there, it starts to add up. So I think it's, it's a chicken and egg thing, as the chair has said. And I think we just got to be careful on how we approach these, but it's nuance, right? So a case by case basis. So I'm going to vote to support this because it's Bratcher. And we've talked about this in committee and I got the reasoning for it. But I will tell you, I took a lot of heat for a vote for housing before because I was my first vote and I wasn't voting against housing. But I am going to be supporting more housing all over our county. And thank you all for the work on this.
Councilwoman Hawkins?
Yes, I'm going to say this, Councilman Prash, right, you did take a lot of heat, and that was that was the development in my district. I think everybody did, but I also want to say this, I'm a firm believer, and when I first got on council, I relied on Councilwoman Shanklin a lot, and one thing that she always told me, is that normally people support what, people know what the people in their district wants and needs. And we follow the person that serves that area. That's why they was voted for for that area, right? But I will say this, safety is always first. I've been out there, those roads are horrible. And I'm sorry, but I just, I gotta say what needs to be said. Gentrification is coming. Maybe Bratcher, you can move downtown. Come on down here with me in the West End, because it's coming. But I totally agree, with you, and I will be in support with this.
Councilman Reed.
But,
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Mr. President. Of course, I'll be supporting this. And, we have historically had in this city a real problem with roads and planning of roads. And like my esteemed colleague, Councilman Benson, who's not here tonight, would always say, where's the planning? Where did we spend money to actually plan to develop into certain areas? And the simple truth is that we are being bombarded out in the suburbs with development and poor planning that went into the development, okay? And for some of us that are around the 264-42 interchange that's being repaired now by the state, somebody in the state had the bright idea to do that while River Road was closed. Maybe the first time I've ever agreed with Joe Girth in an article, by the way. And it's insane, some of the things that are happening in some of these districts. And I am very pro-smart development. Don't get me wrong, I am, because we need that. But for some of these developments to be going into areas that have no sidewalks, that have no tarp lines, it's just insane. So I'm very hopeful that we as a body can communicate with somebody at the state level to get more road funding and to make a plea. Maybe we do that through the mayor's office, I don't know. But the simple truth is that this is going to get much, much worse, and we are all hearing it from our constituents and then some. So I'll be voting with you, Councilman Bratcher. Thank you.
Councilwoman Purvis has been patient. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to agree with Councilwoman Hawkins that most of the time we respect our council people and what they are suggesting in the direction that we go in. And I know that there are infrastructure challenges in this area, so it doesn't seem like it would be a safe project. However, I did notice that they had, out of 432 units, they had also earmarked some of those for affordable housing. So I just want to keep in mind that we cannot continue to put affordable housing in a certain part of town, because what is happening is we're beginning to see a lot of concentrated poverty. So just keep that in mind for future development that's outside of the urban service district. We need to spread the housing all over. But I will vote yes to support this. I understand what you're saying, but we need to be mindful to make sure that we do not continue to put affordable housing in one major concentrated area that is already very dense with affordable housing. That was the statement I wanted to make. Thank you.
Councilman Syme, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm in support of Councilman Bratcher's ordinance here, and one of the things I wanted to talk about, I hear about the chicken and the egg. Well, we got the chicken, 450 more units, but we can't get the egg to hatch. We have no grocery store in my area, but we still put 450 units. We have no TARC, and one of the things that really caught my attention was I talked to a legislator in Frankfurt, and my district is split up. My main road is controlled by an opposite party member. And that opposite party member can't get a line item in the budget because she's painted herself into a corner. She can't get anything through. So I'm stuck in my district trying to get infrastructure, getting my road fixed. So I'm stuck in the middle of these politics. They're still building more and more apartments. We still don't have a grocery store after 3 years. We don't have a middle school, and they keep saying chicken and egg. Well, we got to get the egg to hatch sometime, and it's not happening, yet we still build these apartment complexes in places that we cannot sustain. So I am with Councilman Bratcher on this, and I'm a proud yes. Thank you.
Councilwoman Bass, you have the floor.
I just wanted to echo my colleagues, and I am in support of Bratcher's amendment here. We have to start looking at these developments that keep going into rural areas with bad infrastructure. We have a lot going into my area that are food deserts. The schools are at max capacity while they continue to close schools in my area. There's no TARC that runs in this area. There's no access to sidewalks to get to retail or stores or any goods that they need. And we have to start looking at that when we are putting these developments in and talk about it, because it is poor planning, and we have to look at the big picture. And I get that I am for positive growth, and I am for we need to get the housing where it needs to be, but we also need to look at the big picture and do it right. So we're not stuck listening to our constituents that are stuck in the middle of nowhere with no access to get anywhere. So thank you.
Councilman Owen, you're in my queue.
Thank you. I'll be very quick. Yes, please. Yes, please, to more downtown development in every way, but I don't think we can choose one and not do the other. That's one. And I also think it's interesting that I would be the person reminding us that there are market forces at play here. So, where do people want to live? Those are market forces at play. Where do grocery stores decide to build? Those are market forces at play. So I think it's just interesting that I'm the one to bring that up, because it seems like that has been lost on us during this conversation. Thank you.
Councilman Piagentini, waving away.
Yes. But government shouldn't mess with the market, but it sets the stage for the market. We set the rules. So for example, why do we think in modern times, I'll pick on my colleague, Councilman Purvis, right? Because where in the last census, my district went up by 40%, hers went down by 30% in population, and we had to change the lines to compensate for that. If you don't think that the city's lack of attention to her infrastructure, the crime rate in our district that's different in our districts, and I could label out a bunch of other things, contributed to the demand shift. So yes, the market, should play out, but the city is not creating a level playing field in the market in this city. The city, as in the government, is not creating a level playing field where the market's demand can play out by for lack of a better term, screwing over certain districts, and certain districts not being in the same condition as others. They created the demand to move out of those areas. So I totally understand what you're saying, and I agree with it, but we cannot ignore the role the government played in creating that outsized demand and that shift in demand. So, yeah. Thank you.
Was that comrade? Councilman Herndon, you've got the floor, sir.
As sharing the district next door to Councilwoman Purvis, my district the neighborhoods in my districts are well over 100 years old, and so are some of the infrastructure, the sidewalks, for example. Our sidewalks aren't years old, they're decades old. And we need to, I would like to talk about committing specific funds for those specific areas because they are decades old. Or more, many decades. So there's a reason that when the infrastructure is crumbling, it's because it's very, very old as opposed to the newer areas. So I'd like to just talk to my colleagues about getting some more funds put into the districts into the district and the neighborhoods that where the city was born. Thank you.
Councilman Reed.
For those that think I have no heart, in the interest of Councilman Linegar's marriage, I'd like to call the question.
I was going to say, well, there's no one else in my queue. Well, let's do this. We got the call the question where it's all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? I think the opinion of the chair is the ayes have it, especially in light of his marriage. The question's been called. Madam Clerk, open the roll. We're voting on the ordinance as is, which is to decline the development.
Councilmember Parrish Wright,
Yes.
Councilmember Reno Weber,
Aye.
voting's closing. President Eckerson, you have 19 yes votes, 1 no, and 4 present.
The ordinance passes as is. The next item on our agenda will be item number 35. A reading of that, please, Madam Clerk. Oh, no, that's next.
Item 35, an ordinance establishing a development area pursuant to provisions of KRS 65.7041 through 65.7083 and KRS 154.30-154.30-090 to be known as the Distillery Commons Development Area, designating the Metro Development Authority Incorporated as an agency adopting the development plan, approving entering into a local participation agreement, authorizing the payment of the released amount pursuant to the terms and conditions of the local participation agreement, requiring the submission of regular reports to Louisville Jefferson County Metro Government, and authorizing the execution of delivery of any other documents and the taking of any other execution and delivery of any other documents actions necessary to accomplish the purpose authorized by this ordinance. Read in full.
Second.
Items properly before us, this came out of Councilman Buccaneer Reno Weber's committee. You have the floor, sir.
This is properly in Councilman Owens's waters, so I'll let him speak to it.
Councilman Owen, you have the floor.
Thank you, President Atkinson. So all the ones I've dealt with tonight, none of them are just totally straightforward. First of all, this is the Distillery Commons property at the corner of Lexington Road and Payne. So it's a historic property. The proposed development is a mixed-use development, which is fantastic. We're excited about it. They're doing a new food hall. Headliners Music Hall is right there next to it, so it'll be kind of a live music venue where it's not owned by the same people, but they will kind of work off of each other. There's going to be an indoor putt-putt golf, which we don't have any of, kind of in the middle of the city. There's the chef that's running the food hall grew up here in Louisville, has done successful restaurants all over the country. He's coming back to run this food hall, so he's excited about it. So there's 150 units of housing proposed in phase 2, 10% of which will be affordable. So there's a lot of things that we like here, and we're very pleased with the development. What we've done here, we've been working on a community benefits agreement between the Irish Hill Neighborhood Association and the developer. We haven't been able to get it completely worked out, and so went to the county attorney's office and said, how do we need to go ahead and pass it tonight because of the way the financing works for the developer. They need to go ahead and have it passed. So we wanted to have some flexibility to go ahead and pass the ordinance and then be able to kind of go back and say, here's the final CBA agreement that we're attaching to the document and it's binding. And so I've asked Laura Ferguson to amend the document so we can try to accomplish that. But I would really appreciate your support on this. It's a great development and we're excited about it.
Do you want me to read the amended language? Yeah, so what they have is in the ordinance on page 6, item G, the last sentence talks about the memorialized in a memorandum of understanding, and what would be added inserted as the end of that sentence would be, but which draft MOU may be amended upon agreement of both parties to the MOU. And that's the only change.
Motion. Is there any discussion on the amended? Councilman Baxter, in my queue. Are you wishing to speak to this item? You have the floor, madam.
I just wanted to respond. Tammy had mentioned about the signs that actually came up in my district.
No, this is that's gonna be next.
Oh, well then, no, I'm not in the queue.
Okay, no. All right, no one else in my queue. We've got the amended version before us. All the favors of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition?
Aye.
Hearing no opposition, now we have the amended version before us. Do you care to speak any more to it, Councilman Owen?
Said my piece.
No one else in the queue? Oh, Councilman Leninger, you're in the queue.
Yes, two things. One, I can't let the South Seas erasure stand. They do have putt-putt at South Seas, and it's great. Two, this is why I stayed tonight and continue to hang out with y'all long-winded people. If this had not already been pulled from the consent calendar due to the need for the amendment, I was going to ask to pull it for the same reason that the last TIF that came before us. We have limited funds at our disposal in government. We have limited ways that we can raise revenues. And so we have to be good stewards of the public resource of our tax bases. And it is my opinion that 80% AMI for 10% of units does not meet the need for us to be giving away tax base for the development. I don't feel that that is a compelling enough public use, and that we need to be building more affordable housing at a lower level of affordability. So I will be voting no on this, but just wanted to share my reasons.
See no other speakers in my queue. You have the floor, madam, but not in my queue.
Okay, thank you very much. I have my own concerns about a TIF. My understanding of TIFs is they're supposed to be used in blighted neighborhoods, and I don't understand the justification for why that area is blighted. So I'm planning to vote present on this.
Anyone else care to speak to this? See no one. This is an ordinance that requires a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, open the roll.
Voting is open. Councilmember Paris Wright.
Yes.
Councilmember Rena Weber.
Aye.
Councilmember Shanklin. Councilmember Winkler. Voting's closing. It's not going up there. President Eckerson, you have 3 present, 1 no, and 20 yes votes.
The ordinance is adopted. May I have a motion to
Motion to untable
item
number 53?
Second.
All right, folks, we got item 53 back before us. I think Laura's come up with some smart answers to the questions of the...
Do it, and I have some proposed language. If you want me to read that in, I can.
Yeah. Un momento, everybody.
All right.
Yeah.
What's that?
Mr. President, we have some language on the illegal dumping, whether we can,
Okay, so what we're going to have is we're going to have some language, which is going to be proposed as an amendment to this, to address the issue of directing the funds where you all want to go. At this point, let's hear the language, and then we'll make a motion for an amendment, a second, and we'll move forward.
So this would be a new subsection S, and would state, upon the issuance of a non-appealable final order, all fines and fees collected pursuant to this section shall be allocated directly to to Public Works for investment into the continued enforcement of this section.
Motion.
All right, we have an amendment before us. Is there any discussion on that amendment? Councilwoman
Just for
Hawkins.
clarity and just to be on the record, so this is to buy more cameras, right?
Mr. President, can I respond?
And signage if needed, right, signage and cameras. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Councilman Batchon, would you like to answer her question?
If it's okay with you, Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
And Robbie, correct me if I'm wrong, but the ordinance, the amendment on the ordinance basically states that the fines and money collected on illegal dumping, I guess you would say prosecutions, would go back to Public Works for allocation of surveillance cameras for areas of hotspots for illegal dumping.
As Mr. President.
Councilman
As
Kramer.
well as signage and whatever
As
else is
well as
necessary for
signage
enforcement, right?
and-
So it's,
yeah.
it's not limited to cameras, but it is limited to enforcement of this particular ordinance.
Can we clarify the language like that in the ordinance, Robbie?
The way it was just described would be the way I would describe it.
Perfect. Love it.
Do we need to amend it further based upon what they just
Motion.
said, or are we covered with the amendment as is?
You might have to explain to me what you're asking with that question.
Here's what I'm asking is you read this amendment, and we're going to vote here in a second whether or not to adopt that amendment. There's been discussion about, will that money go back in for cameras and signage? Are both of those, and enforcement, are all 3 of those things covered by your amendment? Signage, enforcement, and cameras.
The way that it's currently written, it would be up to Public Works, but they would be limited on the usage of the funds for enforcement of this ordinance.
Okay, does
So
anyone-
how they would want to do it would be up to Public Works.
Does anyone need any further clarification on that?
Does this also include the raise of the fine that was proposed? I don't think we took that to a vote either, right? So that's a whole nother, okay.
And,
Madam?
and the update, because like Councilman Piantini said, probably some of the signs that I'm seeing that are outdated, because they're not consistent. So is this because, you know, and I hate to say it, if somebody gets stopped or somebody gets cited, and on paper it says one thing, but on a sign it says another, how do you identify that? You know?
Well,
So I'm saying, like, I'm gonna refer to my colleague, Councilman Piangentini, to, like, I mean, right? Ain't that kind of what you was saying, like, or do we do that, update the signage, enforce, but definitely update, because they're not consistent.
Well, here's what he said. The money's going to go back into the program. And what it's going to be is going to be up to Public Works to decide how that money's spent. And I'm sure that this body will have some influence on Public Works of how that's spent, whether it is A, the enforcement that you all have talked about, B, the signage that you've talked about, or C, the cameras. That'll be up for Public Works to decide with some input from this body. Now, at the end of the day, if the sign says $1,000 fine and they're actually going to get hit with a $2,000 fine, yeah, it's a problem, but it's not so big a problem, I see, because the people are already breaking the law. So I don't care that I thought I was only going to get a $1,000 fine. Well, too bad. You broke the law. Are we okay with that? Any other questions or concerns regarding this amendment? This amendment requires a vote. Councilwoman Raymond?
I do have a concern that, however unlikely, what if we raise more money than is needed for enforcement?
Does anyone care to respond to that question? Councilman Piagentini.
Yes. So two things. First of all, regarding the actual language of the amendment, it's generic, right? We've done this before, actually. Golf, there's a couple other areas where we say revenue generated from that goes into whatever the functioning of that. We don't get any more specific. And trust me, that particularly in the prior administration, I would have loved to have gotten super specific and micromanaged the junk out of every decision they made. But that is not good policy. We have to give the executive branch the ability to execute, albeit we give them oversight, right? And if we think they're allocating the money in a horrible way, we jump all over them. To address specifically my colleague, Councilwoman Raymond's concern, it is a valid concern, absolutely. And this is something that I would argue through the budgetary process we would ask, right? So, again, there are other departments that are in this boat, right, where we have money, we say, look, revenue generated from this has to go back into this bucket. Theoretically, they could be in a scenario where they have so much money, they're like, I don't even know what to do with this. Like, this is ridiculous, right? It has to go back to the general fund or something else. I will tell you that I cannot think of one example of where that has happened yet, okay? Generally speaking, I think that's going to happen, at least in the short term here, and by short term, I mean next couple of years. I would be blown away that they come back and say, hey, I have no idea how to spend this in order to enforce the law on illegal dumping, because the problem is so rampant and out of control, and we need to update signs, and we need cameras, and we need to do these things, and none of that is cheap. But I would say it's a legitimate concern that frankly should be dealt with during the budgetary process, and if at that point we say, look, there's really too much money being generated by this, we need to utilize it otherwise, then we make an amendment to the law and reallocate it. But I support this amendment. I think at least for the next several years, this is the right thing to do. And until it's proven that we have too much money to enforce this, I think this is the right thing to do. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilwoman Bass, you're in my queue.
I was just going to speak to a couple things. Firstly, it did come up in my district about the signage being dated. We recently had an issue where there was a wreck, and it was a no left turn sign. It caused some confusion because it was a written sign, and they went to symbols, and it wasn't a legible written sign. So they did make me aware that there are a lot of signs out there dated that need to be updated. So. But with that, I wanted to just say I fully support enhancing the fines for legal dumping. So in my first 6 months on council, it's been one of the top complaints that I have received in our district, and it's a persistent issue that I think we all work very hard to address in our districts. And I also agree with Councilman Piagentini that we need to take a broader look at all of the fines and update them where necessary to today's logic. And I've been having conversations about increasing the penalties for littering, and I hope to bring forward some changes on that in the front soon. My goal is to work with any of the colleagues that are willing to help strengthen enforcement to make sure that we have the tools in place to protect the cleanliness and safetyness in our districts, because it is a huge issue. And we all are trying to do beautification projects to our districts and get them thriving and working, and trash being one of the main complaints that we get as council. You know, we don't control waste management, we don't control all of these things, and we didn't really run for council to be the garbage person. So I just hope that we come to some better processes to help us all in our districts and get them cleaned up.
Councilman Herndon.
Just quickly, I do think that we have dated signs everywhere. I see them all over my district as well. I think we have to have new signs all over the county, and they should say illegal dumping fine up to $3,000, go to the max and put it there. But signs also never indicate any legal way to do it. So I would also, since I'm a professional, so I think at the bottom of these signs that they should at least give an option to do it legally right on the spot. So you're going to fine you, or you can do it the right way, and tell them that way on the sign. It may help a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit.
It's the artistic designer in him. Councilman Hawkins.
I want to say this real quick. And I'm also learning that as soon as codes pick it up, the dumping, as soon as they get it, I know 2 days later, the old Walmart, it doesn't matter. I'll call Richard Price, they'll pick it up. Next thing you know, they dumping it again. No camera. Where they know, and then wherever they move the camera to, they go to the other place. But if we just had enough just to go around, you know, I think it would help. But no sooner you dump, you call them, pick it up, they right back out there again dumping. So it's an issue. So I'm definitely going to support this. But
Seeing no one else in my queue, we have Councilman Syme.
I did want to say one thing before we vote. If this does pass, I mean, we do owe it to the public to educate and put the information out there that we're going to come and get you if you're dumping. So we've got to do something to let the people know what we're doing, and not just pass this legislation without, you know, giving people ample warning that we're coming at you if you dump. So I hope that each of the legislators here will put something in their newsletters, and that we do a campaign to let these people know we're coming after them. Thank you.
Councilwoman Bass is back in the queue. You have the floor.
Just to reciprocate that, I also think we owe it to the public to get it out there more about, we do have free options for up to 4 large items a day and 4 tires a day at Meriwether for free.
No one else in my queue now. We have the amended version before us. Oh, we're voting on the amended version. All those in favor of the amended version with the language of the allocation of the funds, say aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? Hearing no opposition, we now have the ordinance, the amended ordinance before us. No one in the queue to speak to that. Madam Clerk, open the roll, please.
Councilmember Parrish Wright. Councilmember Marina Weber.
Aye.
Councilmember Parrish Wright.
Yes.
Councilmember Leninger. Winkler's gone. Voting's closing. President Eckerson, you have 23 yes votes.
The ordinance is adopted. The next item of business is new business. As you leave the chambers, do so quietly so that we can read this stuff. Get out of here.
See you, man.
The new business comprises of items 57 through 84. Madam Clerk, a reading of those items, please.
The following legislation was assigned to the Appropriations Committee. Item 57, an ordinance appropriating $26,600 from District 18 Neighborhood Development Funds through the Office of Management and Budget to the City of Hurstburn for 8 flock cameras to be placed at the entrances of the city. Item 58, An ordinance appropriating $12,460 from neighborhood development funds in the following manner: $3,560 each from Districts 1 and 21, and $2,670 each from Districts 3 and 15 to the Office of Social Services for costs associated with the purchase of portable air conditioners for residents without adequate cooling. Item 59, an ordinance appropriating $19,250 from neighborhood development funds in the following manner: $9,625 each from Districts 8 and 9 to codes and regulations for graffiti removal as reported or identified by the Highlands Commerce Guild. Item 60, an ordinance appropriating $9,750 from District 10 Neighborhood Development Funds to Louisville Metro Parks and Recreation Urban Forestry for Bob Ray Company, Inc. to remove trees and grind stumps in the public right-of-way at and near 1521 Sylvan Way. Item 61, an ordinance appropriating $1,000 from Neighborhood Development Funds in the following manner: $1,000 from District 9 through the Office of Management and Budget to Girl Scouts of Kentuckiana, Inc. for venue and event rental costs for the Via Calori event to be held October 18th and 19th, 2025. Item 62, an ordinance appropriating $5,117.40 from District 3 Neighborhood Development Funds to Louisville Metro Public Works and Assets to fund 5 streetlights on Harold Avenue, including a 5-year lease agreement with Louisville Gas and Electric. Item 63, an ordinance appropriating $9,212.79 from District 23 Neighborhood Development Funds through the Office of Management and Budget to Highview Business Owners Association, Inc. for costs associated with the Highview Fall Festival and Parade on October 11, 2025, the Highview Holiday Fest on December 6, 2025, and website maintenance. Item 64, an ordinance appropriating $20,000 from District 4 Neighborhood Development Funds to Louisville Metro Parks and Recreation to fund the District 4 Park Activities Account for community events in District 4. Item 65, an ordinance appropriating $10,000 from District 5 Neighborhood Development Funds through the Office of Management and Budget to Theta Omega, Inc. for food and school supplies to be distributed to the public during their community back-to-school picnic on July 19th, 2025. Item 66, an ordinance appropriating $12,500 from Neighborhood Development Funds in the following manner: $5,000 each from Districts 22 and 23, and $2,500 from District 13 to the Louisville Metro Police Department's 7th Division for various community events for fiscal year 26. Item 67, an ordinance appropriating $5,000 from Neighborhood Development Funds in the following manner: $5,000 from District 8 through the Office of Management and Budget to the Highlands Community Ministries, Inc. to fund its individual family assistance program. Item 68, an ordinance appropriating $12,285 from District 6 Neighborhood Development Funds to Louisville Metro Parks to cover the costs of production, marketing, catering, music equipment, security, and tent rental for Jazz in Central Park 2025 to be held on August 24th, 2025. And item 69, an ordinance appropriating $3,000 from Neighborhood Development Funds in the following manner: $3,000 from District 1 to Metro Parks and Recreation for costs associated with the Algonquin Community Day Summer Closeout to be held August 2nd, 2025. The following legislation was assigned to Budget Committee. Item 70, an ordinance amending ordinance number 091, Series 2025, and ordinance 092, Series 2025, relating to the fiscal year 2025-2026 operating and capital budget, respectively, by transferring $50,000 from the District 20 Neighborhood Development Fund to the District 20 Capital Infrastructure Fund. Item 71, an ordinance amending ordinance 101, Series 2024, relating to fiscal year 2024-2025 capital budget by changing the project title and description of the Community Boat Ramp and Dock to the Community Boat House Ramp and Dock. Item 72, an ordinance creating a new section of the Louisville Jefferson County Metro Code of Ordinances, LMCO, Chapter 20, regarding the assessment of additional fees and costs for the purpose of paying expenses for courthouses, bonds related to them, and administrative expenses of the Jefferson Circuit and District Court. Item 73, a resolution of official intent the Louisville Jefferson County Metro Government to finance the acquisition, construction, renovation, and improvement of certain capital projects in the Louisville Jefferson County Metro Government and its agencies and departments from the proceeds of one or more proposed issues of general obligation bonds and general obligation notes. The following legislation was assigned to Equity, Community Affairs, Housing, Health, and Education Committee. Item 74, a resolution honoring the Reverend Dr. James Zetta Ferguson by dedicating the corner of 12th Street and West Jefferson Street as Reverend Dr. James Zetta Ferguson Way in her honor. Item 75, a resolution honoring the Reverend Dr. Gregory Franz Smith by dedicating the corners of Dixie Highway and Wathan Lane, Chalmers Court and Wathan Lane, Loney Lane and Wathan Lane, New Millennium Drive and Wathan Lane, and 7th Street Road and Wathan Lane as Reverend Dr. Gregory Franz Smith Way in his honor. Item 76, a resolution honoring Vernita Brown by dedicating the corner of Exeter Avenue and Shasta Trail as Vernita Brown Way in her honor. Item 77, a resolution encouraging parents and guardians to be aware of their children's whereabouts and activities, particularly during after-school and nighttime hours. The following legislation was assigned to Labor and Economic Development Committee. Item 78, a resolution pursuant to the capital and operating budget ordinances approving the appropriation to fund the following professional services contract for Louisville Metro Economic Development for financial advice on complex financial agreements, deal structures, and tax increment financing, Commonwealth Economic Partners, LLC, $108,000. The following legislation was assigned to Planning and Zoning Committee. Item 79, an ordinance relating to the closure of an unimproved alley between Wheeler Avenue and Cuyahoga Street containing approximately .015 acres and being in Louisville Metro, case number 25, STR closure 0030. Item 80, an ordinance relating to the zoning of property located at 8,000 National Turnpike containing approximately .34 acres and being in Louisville Metro, case number 25, zone 0039. Item 81, an ordinance relating to the zoning of properties located at 7304 Vaughan Mill Road and 7205 Briscoe Lane, containing approximately 5.87 acres and being in Louisville Metro, case number 24, zone 0131. Item 82, an ordinance relating to the zoning of properties located at 4922 Preston Highway and 1129 and 1131 Rose Drive, containing approximately .52 acres and being in Louisville Metro, case number 25, zone 0036. Item 83, an ordinance relating to the zoning of property located at 113 North Wenzel Street, containing approximately .04 acres and being in Louisville Metro, case number is 25, zone 0040. Item number 84, an ordinance relating to the designation of the Chickasaw neighborhood as a local preservation district and the addition of Chickasaw to the list of local preservation districts in LMCO 32.252A, case number 24, landmark 0005, read in full.
All right, with no announcements, this concludes our meeting. Our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, August 14th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Without objection, we are adjourned.